Chapter 1968. Just as the metal dragon was about to land, Chun Zhao moved. He shot toward the metal dragon like a bolt of lightning. Suddenly, a huge body blocked Chun Zhao's way. The body was blue and white and was also extremely fast. He was a wind dragon. Of course, he could also be called a storm dragon. Speed was his forte. Among the dragon clan, there were almost no dragons of other attributes that could compete with his speed. However, Chun Zhao wasn't fooling around with him right now. He charged toward the storm dragon. The storm dragon froze instantly. A huge hole appeared in his chest. At the same time, the dragon ball hidden in his chest disappeared too. It wasn't Chun Zhao's first time facing a dragon ball. He knew how to kill a dragon. The moment the metal dragon was about to land its claws, Chun Zhao's fist filled with power brought out shadow. Boom! Zephyr was prepared to die. But the next moment, she saw the metal dragon suddenly fly out. Its huge body flew hundreds of meters away. Then the storm dragon, who'd been blocking in front of Chun Zhao, collapsed. In Chun Zhao's palm was a blood-stained dragon ball the size of a basketball. Zephyr's mouth gaped open. Disbelief was written all over her face. Was this real? Was what was happening in front of him real? It wasn't just Jevra who was frightened. Even the other Dragon Clan members were frightened by this. The metal dragon wailed, "Mother, save me." Chun Zhao's attack didn't kill him directly, but it was still heavily injured. Melita hurriedly cast a healing spell on the metal dragon. Under Melita's healing magic, the metal dragon was recovering quickly. Shung and had been hiding in a corner. His expression was terrible. Chui Xin wasn't as confident as before. It happened almost instantaneously. One dead and one heavily injured. If it were her and Shung, and they probably wouldn't be much better off than the metal dragon and the storm dragon. Chun Zhao stood before Zephyr. "Stand where you are. Don't do anything. Don't worry about anything else." Zephyr could feel the pressure from Chun Zhao. The power Chun Zhao had displayed was beyond her understanding. Was this man really human? Or could it be that he was also a dragon in human skin? Avatar 10,000 techniques return to one. Dark assimilation, eye of power, mighty God. After transforming into the mighty miracle God, Chun Zhao realized that the power of the world wasn't affected by the alternate dimension. He could still use it freely. He had been worried that he wouldn't be able to use it in the alternate dimension. In the end, Chun Zhao realized that his worries were unnecessary. She looked at Chun Zhao, who had turned into a giant. In her eyes, this was a very ordinary enhancement spiritualist spell. Gigantism was not a particularly brilliant spell in the field of strengthening. Could Chun Zhao really defeat so many dragons in his current state? There were also the two dragon father-level dragons. When Chun Zhao attacked, one died and the other was injured. This made the other dragons feel that today's matter wouldn't be so simple. "Human, your strength has won my respect." Tugu suddenly said, "I will express my apologies to you in the name of Tugu, Amosi Haber. Perhaps we can sit down and talk. I don't need to be respected. It's fear." Chun Zhao attacked. Holy Spirit's protection. Melita immediately released a super powerful holy light spell. All of the dragons were shrouded in a layer of holy light, and there were halos lingering around the dragons. It was as if countless angels were protecting the dragons. "Die!" Chun Zhao smashed a dragon with a punch. To Chun Zhao's surprise, his attack didn't manage to kill the dragon instantly. In his normal state, he could already kill the storm dragon in one hit. But now, he was at his peak and still couldn't kill the dragon. This holy light spell was really annoying. A dragon's breath tore through the air and hit Chun Zhao directly. But after the dragon's breath, Chun Zhao was unharmed. Chun Zhao evaluated. It seemed that the five-color dragon's holy light spell didn't just strengthen the dragon's defense. Even their attacks were strengthened. Their attacks also contained the power of holy light. Jevra watched the battle between the two sides. This was a battle that she couldn't intervene in. The intensity of the battle was far greater than any of her previous battles. Speaking of which, Zephyr had also participated in a dragon-slaying battle. She participated as the main force, planner, and commander. But that battle hadn't been easy. She'd almost lost. But compared to the battle in front of him, the previous battle was more like playing house. After a few minutes of fighting, the two separated temporarily and regrouped. Father, Mother, this human is very powerful. Terrifyingly powerful. By now, the other young dragons weren't as confident and arrogant as before. They realized that Chun Zhao's every attack was filled with the intent to kill. If not for their mother's magic protection, at least half of them would be dead by now. Of course, the short battle just now was just a test. Neither side was fighting for real. Tuga's expression wasn't good. What he wanted was to kill an iconic human. He was a powerful and prestigious human being, not an evenly matched enemy. In fact, if he faced this human alone, he wouldn't have any chance of winning. The direction of this war had begun to break away from his control, his expectations. Sheng and Chui Xiyin had been at the periphery the entire time. They didn't even attack. They were also shocked. Was that really a human? Facing a dozen dragons, including 2 father-level dragons, Chun Zhao wasn't at a disadvantage at all. Unexpectedly, he was not at a disadvantage at all. In fact, he even faintly held the upper hand. Melita, take out your trump card. There's no need to hold back. Tuga's tone wasn't arrogant, angry, or smug. There was only calmness. Melita took out a yellow crystal. When Chun Zhao saw the yellow crystal, he immediately thought of the yellow jade immortal abode that Zhang Tianyi had mentioned to him earlier. He didn't know what effect it had, but he was still on guard against Melita with 120% vigilance. After all, it wasn't a power he was familiar with, even if it came from his hometown. Just then, the yellow crystal suddenly shone with yellow light. Then, the yellow light gathered and formed a huge tiger. The tiger's aura wasn't weaker than Melita's and Tuga's, but Chun Zhao felt a trace of demonic aura from the tiger. Was this yellow crystal some monster's internal alchemy? Chapter 1969. The tiger moves suddenly, pouncing at Chun Zhao without any warning. Chun Zhao punched the tiger right in the face. The tiger's body suddenly collapsed. Chun Zhao thought it was just a show, but the next moment, the tiger recovered. It wasn't weakened at all. Was it the yellow crystal that was continuously providing energy to the tiger? It seemed that to deal with the tiger, he had to either deal with Melita or destroy the yellow crystal. Suddenly, Melita felt Chun Zhao's murderous intent. It's coming. It's coming. Chun Zhao turned his target to her. Chun Zhao's speed exploded again. The tiger quickly blocked in front of Chun Zhao, but Chun Zhao shattered it with one strike. The next moment, Chun Zhao appeared before Melita. Melita felt her hair stand on end. Hello. Chun Zhao grinned. Goodbye. A funny thought suddenly appeared in Melita's mind. Did this guy think he could kill her instantly? But Chun Zhao took out the black trident. Without any hesitation, Melita spat out a 5-color dragon breath at Chun Zhao. The dragon breath of a 5-color dragon was called Magic Flood. It was a terrifying impact filled with surging magic. One strike could even flatten a mountain. Chun Zhao also felt the surging magic power, so he chose to avoid it. It wasn't a wise choice to face the dragon breath that made even his hair stand on end. Chun Zhao fully used his advantage in speed. The next moment, he appeared above Melita's head. Seeing his wife in danger, Tuga roared, "How dare you!" But he was never good at speed. He couldn't save her in time. Chun Zhao's black trident was already stabbing toward Melita's head. The destructive magic penetrated Melita's head, cutting off all the neurons in her brain. The holy light protection couldn't stop the immortal power contained in the black trident. It couldn't stop Chun Zhao's power either. Rumble. Melita's huge body crashed to the ground. There was no sound. You're all going to die today. Die here. Chun Zhao stood on Melita's head, holding the black trident in one hand and the yellow crystal in the other. Murderous intent was written all over his face. The scene was silent. Dead? Melita, a dragon father, had died just like that? With Melita's death, the holy light magic on her child also dissipated. But the impact of Melita's death was far more than that. There was also a psychological impact. Jevra almost suffocated. A human had single-handedly killed a dragon of the dragon father level. "I'll kill you," Tugu saw his wife being killed in front of him and immediately fell into madness. His body began to enlarge rapidly. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Not long after, his body had already transformed into a giant dragon that was 2,000 to 3,000 meters tall. Zephyra and all the dragons present were stunned. Chen Zhao looked at Tugu calmly. Not only had Tugu's body become bigger, even his strength had doubled. However, Chen Zhao wasn't afraid of a competition of strength. Tugu's enormous claw arrived with a loud rumble. Chen Zhao stabbed the black trident at Tugu's claw. The black trident directly penetrated Tugu's dragon claw. Ouch! Tugu felt an intense pain. Along with the pain was the destructive energy that was spreading from his claw to his forelimbs. Chen Zhao pulled forcefully, and Tugu's claw was torn apart. Dragon blood splashed onto Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao flew up and stabbed Tugu's abdomen with another stab. Tugu tried his best to free himself. His enormous tail swept across Chen Zhao. As Chen Zhao flew out, he also stabbed at a dragon behind him. That dragon wasn't as powerful as Tugu and died on the spot. Tugu felt the pain coming from his abdomen almost engulfing his rationality. His originally strong, self-healing ability was almost useless now. Chen Zhao bounced off the ground and shot toward Tugu again. Both Cui Xin and Sheng were shocked. The situation was completely out of control now. Cui Xin looked around and suddenly went to Sheng and sighed. "Don't make a sound. What are you doing?" Sheng asked uneasily. Cui Xin grabbed Sheng's body and took out a strange disc. Then, she poured magic power into the disc. Gradually, Sheng felt a wave of magic power wrap around him and Cui Xin. "What's this?" "Don't ask anything," Cui Xin whispered. "Let's go." Sheng and Cui Xin instantly disappeared. Without anyone noticing, Cui Xin took Sheng and escaped from the alternate dimension. In the next instant, the two of them appeared on a vast ocean. Where is this? How did we appear here? How did you do it? There are 2 alternate dimensions sealed there. I used this, the world compass, Cui Xin said. It's a divine artifact. It's a part of the Diamond All. It can teleport the user to a random corner of the world. Why didn't you escape with the others? They're dead if they stay there. That human will kill them all, including Tugu. The world compass can only teleport the 2 of us. Are you willing to give up on yourself? Stay there and face that human? Cui Xin said with lingering fear. I don't want to meet that human again, ever. Fortunately, she didn't tell her people or Shang'an. After all, the world compass needed some time to activate. If the other dragons or Chen Zhao had discovered that they were planning to escape, they would have died. They probably wouldn't be able to leave at all. Chen Zhao and the other dragons also discovered the escaping Sheng and Cui Xin. But they didn't have the energy to pay attention now. All of their energy was focused on each other. Tugu's huge body was pierced by Chen Zhao. His body was huge, but he couldn't gain an advantage in this battle. Instead, he became a burden. Chen Zhao's speed was much faster than him, and his strength was also above him. Chen Zhao also held a killing weapon, the Black Trident. If he relied on Melita's magic while she was still alive, he might still have a chance to counterattack. Perhaps he still had a chance to counterattack, but Melita's death had already caused a hole in their formation. Tugu quickly realized that he couldn't do anything. He wanted to escape. After the anger from his wife's death faded, he was only left with the fear of death. He didn't want to die. He didn't want to die here. But if Chen Zhao didn't open the alternate dimension, he had nowhere to run. Of course, it wasn't completely impossible. For example, he could use a powerful force to blast open the alternate dimension. But that wasn't something he could do. Chapter 1970. Tugu's huge body collapsed. Chen Zhao hadn't given him the final blow. Right now, Chen Zhao was also a bit tired. The biggest disadvantage of fighting in an alternate dimension was that there was no mana to replenish. In the alternate dimension, Chen Zhao wasn't Superman. Moreover, this alternate dimension was a temporary one. It was created temporarily. When the battle ended or Chen Zhao removed the spell, the alternate dimension would disappear. Chun Zhao also had to maintain the alternate dimension's mana consumption. If it was like the alternate dimension Chun Zhao had created in Mingyue Villa, that was a permanent alternate dimension with an entrance to the normal world, so spiritual qi could freely enter and exit that alternate dimension. Chun Zhao's tired face still had a vicious smile. He didn't give Tugu any time to beg or threaten. Chun Zhao pierced the black trident into Tugu's head. Even if he only pierced the black trident into Tugu's head, it wasn't an easy task. However, Chun Zhao still had a focus. He turned to the remaining dragons. The dragons were scared out of their wits. After all, Chun Zhao's ferocity had exceeded their imagination and understanding. In this battle, they had made a solemn vow at the very beginning, but then they had suffered one blow after another, and now they were almost at the edge of despair. You'll all become part of my collection. Chun Zhao looked at the dragons. The dragons could see Chun Zhao's exhaustion, so they decided to fight to the death. But reality proved that their thoughts were unnecessary. No matter how hungry a tiger was, it wasn't something a few sheep could defeat. They weren't warriors fighting back, but lambs struggling on the brink of death. Killing them wasn't difficult at all. Of course, it still took some effort. It was finally over. Chun Zhao sat on the ground, panting continuously. Zephyr stood there. She'd forgotten the pain on her body. She was still in a state of shock. A human had killed more than a dozen giant dragons in a single battle. This wasn't a normal battle anymore. It was an epic, a legend. After recovering some energy, Chun Zhao started to clean up the dragons' corpses. Tugu, Melita, and their 12 children. After that, Chun Zhao looked at Zephyr. Zephyr, I'm tired. I won't send you off. With that, Chun Zhao disappeared into the night sky. This battle was basically Chun Zhao's limit. Of course, this was in the alternate dimension. In a normal world, Chun Zhao's stamina would be many times higher. But he didn't gain nothing from this battle. At the very least, the bodies of these dragons and the Yellow Jade immortal abode were valuable spoils of war. Hey, Faxben, good morning. Ruan Faxben was still sleeping now. It was only 8 in the morning in Europe. As for the Europeans, 8 o'clock was still their bedtime. Ruan Faxi wanted to scold someone. However, considering that if he were to curse at someone on the phone, the consequences would be very serious. President, it's only 2 or 3 in the morning in Los Angeles. 3:21. What can I do for you? I've killed a dozen more dragons today. Ruan jumped out of bed. President, are you serious? 2 of them seem to be particularly powerful. They're more than twice the size of an ordinary dragon. How should we deal with their bodies? Is there anything special to pay attention to? Keep it first. Don't dismember it completely. Ruan Faxibin said, wait for me to go back. I'll deal with it when I go back. President, those 2 dragons are dragon fathers. They're very rare. Ruan Faxi wasn't interested in ordinary dragons at the moment, but a dragon at the level of a dragon father was unprecedented. There had never been the remains of a dragon father-level dragon wandering outside. Almost all of them were recycled by the dragons themselves. Oh, okay. By the way, what are the attributes of the 2 dragon fathers? One of them is a 5-color dragon. I don't know about the other one, but he can increase his size by a dozen times. A 5-color dragon. Boss, this is good stuff. Is the body of the 5-color dragon still intact? Other than the hole I made in her head, everything else is relatively intact. That's good. That's good. Are 5-color dragons very rare? It's not just rare. It's said that among the dragon clan, the 5-color dragons will only choose a giant dragon with the potential of a dragon king as their partner. Then didn't I kill the future dragon king and queen? By the way, I wiped out their entire family. Does that mean I have a huge grudge against the dragon clan? This potential isn't unique, so there's no such thing as killing the future dragon king and queen. That's good. If the dragon clan comes out in full force, I'm really not confident. To be honest, just dealing with the dragon clan family was already exhausting for Chun Zhao. If there were more dragons, Chun Zhao would probably kneel too. Of course, this battle also made Chun Zhao realize his own strength. He was far from being invincible. There were still people or creatures that could threaten him in this world. If there had been another dragon father in the battle just now, Chun Zhao might have been the one kneeling. Other than the two dragon fathers, what other attributes are there? A black dragon, a demon dragon, a wind dragon. Chun Zhao counted. I can't tell the others apart. Ruan Faxbin couldn't help but admire Chun Zhao. There were more than 10 dragons, including 2 dragon fathers. The spoils were too rich. Don't dismember the demon dragon either. It's a good raw material for a humorous dragon. You can leave it for Hellies. Oh, I don't think I should dismember the bodies of the dragons, Chun Zhao said. Otherwise, it'll be a waste. Let's decide after you all come back. Hellies won't be that fast now. It'll probably take at least a decade to successfully create a humorous dragon. Is it because of the difference in strength or lack of materials? Both. How's Xian Li these days? She's in good shape. We found a new clue, Ruan Faxben said. Actually, he didn't think they could get anything. The legendary golden apple really wasn't easy to find. But before Xian Li got completely bored, he could only be Chun Zhao's babysitter. Right now, he wanted to grow a pair of wings and fly back to study Chun Zhao's spoils. But if he did that, even if he grew wings, Chun Zhao would pluck them out. Take care of Xian Li. I'll wait for you at the finish line. Finish line? President. What do you mean? Don't hang up. Hey. Chapter 1971. Chun Zhao had already gotten the exact location of the golden apple tree from the 23rd Blood Mary. Even the precise coordinates were already known. However, Chun Zhao still hoped that Xian Li could find it with her own power. After returning to Mingyue Villa, Chun Zhao started playing with the yellow crystal, the so-called yellow jade divine residence. He sent his immortal power in, and the residence started glowing yellow. However, he couldn't turn the yellow light into a tiger like Melita. Just from the name, it was Yellow Jade Divine Residence. Chun Zhao also used immortal power, so their powers should be very compatible. However, Melita was a dragon and she used magic power, not immortal power. Since she could use it, it meant that he didn't have to use immortal power to open the residence. It seemed that there was a trick to using it. However, he didn't understand it yet. Hey, old Zhang, do you know how to use that Yellow Jade Divine Residence? Don't tell me that you got it. You killed all those evil dragons? I'll ask first, Chun Zhao denied directly. In case I don't know how to use it when I get it. You really got it? Did you kill all those evil dragons? Chun Zhao pursed his lips. Do you know how to use it or not? Are Melita and Tuga dead? Zhang Tianyi was very excited, as if he hadn't heard Chun Zhao's question. Old Zhang, there's something wrong with your mood. Are you hiding something from me? No. Why would I hide anything from you? Huh. Zhang Tianyi's happiness was beyond words. Chun Zhao could feel Zhang Tianyi's emotions, even if he was deaf. I'm sorry to tell you, Chun Zhao said. I only injured 2 of them, and they ran away. I only killed a few dragon babies. Zhang Tianyi's laughter stopped. What did you say? They ran away. How could you be so careless? Why didn't you stop them? Even if only one survived, what's the point of killing a few dragon babies? Zhang Tianyi cursed. Do you think I can stop them just because I say so? Don't you know how strong they are? They must be seriously injured now. It's good for you to chase after them. All right, which direction did they escape to? Maybe we'll find some clues along the way. Let's catch up to them and kill them while they're seriously injured. Zhang Tianyi felt hopeful again. Tell me first, why are you so excited? Do you hate them for killing your father and stealing your wife? Get lost, am I that vulgar? Then tell me a reason. Zhang Tianyi licked his lips. The son of the current Dragon King is their competitor. Back then, I tricked them into entering Huaxia. Originally, I wanted to use the power of Huaxia's supernatural world to kill them both. You shameless old fox, Chun Zhao cursed. You've lowered the moral bottom line of humans, he said. I'm ashamed to know you. The Dragon King of the Dragon Clan promised me in private that if I could kill Tugu and Melita, he would give me an elemental fruit. What's that? It can allow creatures other than humans to evolve into elemental attributes. If it's a demon beast that has gained intelligence, it can develop a second attribute. In any case, it's for beasts to eat. You're a living person. What do you want that for? Could it be that you're a mixed blood, a half-human, half-demon, like in the movies? Get lost. If you want to call me a bastard, just do it. Do you think I can't hear you beating around the bush? Okay, I'm just curious. Our Longhu Mountain has a spirit beast that guards the mountain. It's only half a step away from the Shanxing state and has been guarding the mountain gate for 500 years. Since it has done a great job guarding the mountain gate, I thought of giving it an elemental fruit because we don't have anything to reward it with. So it's useful even for beasts? That's what the Dragon King said. Help me get 3. You could take 1 and leave. I'll chase after them until I die. You think it's dragon fruit? You can buy a dozen at the supermarket for $100. I'll try. There's no harm in it. Didn't you just call me despicable and shameless? People always say one thing, but mean another. You even said I lowered the moral bottom line of humans. Let's not talk about the first. You're also a bastard who forgets morality for benefits. Cut the crap. Are you doing it or not? I say, did Tugu and Melita really escape? If he escapes, he'll die. In any case, it's up to you and me to say it. If the Dragon King wants his son to inherit the throne, he'll have to take the bait. The Dragon King isn't easy to deal with. I'm taking a big risk. Risk your fucking mouth. I'm risking my life here. How dare you say it's risky? If you don't want it, I'll find someone else. Don't contact me again, you shameless old man. We're done. You? Fucking. Do you still want the method to activate the Yellow Jade Divine Mansion? I've scolded too much. Let's get down to business. Give me the method to use the Yellow Jade Divine Mansion. I don't have it now. Fuck, are you messing with me? I said I don't have it now, but that doesn't mean I can't get it. How long? I'll go to Qingxing Mountain and find an excuse to walk around their library. Then I'll get it. Why should I let you take a look around his library? Are you shameless? I am. You don't like it? Speaking of which, give me Tugu and Melita's heads. Otherwise, people won't believe me without proof. Don't even think about it, Chan Zhao said. If you want their heads, give me something of equal value. Zhang Tianyi said he wanted Tugu and Melita's heads as proof. Shun Zhao wouldn't fall for it easily. There were so many things that could be used as proof. Why do you need heads? Then I'll give you a 1,000-year-old red spirit whitethroat. What do you think? Chen Zhao didn't know what red spirit whitethroat was, but it sounded powerful. But Chen Zhao refused. No, I plan on turning them into puppets. What kind of puppet are you making? You don't practice puppet techniques at all. I don't, but my subordinates do. The value of 2 complete dragon bodies can't be compared to regular items. Then I'll use red spirit whitethroat to trade for a dragon horn. Melita is dragon horn. Just 1 is enough. Seriously, don't you feel any guilt towards Tugu and Melita? Guilt my ass. Those 2 are the most anti-human in the dragon race. It's not too much to do anything to them. If Tugu really becomes the Dragon King, it'll really be a world war. Who's going to die if not them? I lose in terms of shamelessness. Chapter 1972. To Zephyra, the impact of tonight was too great. It was an indescribable war. A war between humans and dragons. Zephyra had never thought that humans could be so powerful. They could even crush the dragons. The dragons were slaughtered one after another. It was completely different from the teamwork of the dragon slayers. They won completely by fighting the dragons head-on. That was what she pursued, the ultimate power. When the battle ended, Zephyra was still in a dream. Even now, she still couldn't completely believe that it was real. In the past, Zephyra even thought that she was at the peak of humans in terms of fighting skills, or even spiritualists. Apart from the fact that magic power needed to be accumulated over a long period of time, she should be impeccable. But Chun Zhao's appearance and the war between humans and dragons had completely overturned her understanding of humans. Zephyra. Seeing Zephyr come out, Elux immediately ran over. Great, you're okay. I'm already dead, Zephyr said calmly. What? Zephyr, what do you mean? There was a rule among the dragon slayers. When someone said that they were already dead, it meant that they were going to give up their identity as a dragon slayer. They were tired of this identity and fighting. Then they could quit. Of course, there was a big premise before that. He'd killed an evil dragon before. Since he'd killed an evil dragon, it meant that he'd paid back what the Dragon Slayer organization had given him. so he had every right to quit. Alux, you'll be the leader of the team from now on, Zephyr said. Why are you quitting? Alux's face was filled with anger. Zephyr stopped and turned to look at Alux. Are you going to attack me? In the original Dragon Slayer organization, if a Dragon Slayer wanted to quit, the organization would hunt him down and kill him. At that time, the organization had too much say and didn't give the subordinate Dragon Slayers any right to speak. To them, the organization nurtured them, raised them, and gave them knowledge and power that normal people couldn't reach. Everything a Dragon Slayer had was given by the organization. So quitting meant betrayal. But as time passed, more and more Dragon Slayers rejected this idea. This was especially true for those old comrades who had fought alongside them for decades. If they wanted to quit, how could their comrades in the same squad have the heart to hunt them down? After numerous struggles, the Dragon Slayer organization was finally forced to make changes. Zevra had every right to quit the organization, and no one could do anything to her, especially the Dragon Slayer within the organization. Anyone who laid a hand on Zafra would be going against all the Dragon Slayers. Alux was furious, but he had no intention of attacking. Zefra, are you agitated? Alux looked at Zefra. Oh yes, is it because the headquarters did not send any reinforcements? I know it's cold-blooded for the headquarters to do this, but no, I'm not blaming the headquarters or the higher-ups. They didn't do anything wrong. I just realized that my horizons are too narrow. There are more powerful people in this world, and today I witnessed a legendary battle, Zivlis said calmly. What are you talking about? Could it be the 23rd generation Blood Mary of the Scarlet Church? Or Celestial Master Zhang from Mount Longhu? Did they intervene in the dragon gathering? None of them. I dare say that the person is more powerful than the two of them. That person killed all the dragons, a total of 14, including the two dragon fathers. That's impossible. Even the 23rd generation Blood Mary or Celestial Master Zhang would not be able to do that. That's why I said that our vision is too narrow. Zephyr said, I should go. Goodbye. Keep the weapons and equipment as a souvenir for me. When Zephyr returned home, she saw Portia lying on the sofa. The television in the living room was still on. Portia heard the sound of Zephyr entering the door and sat up. She looked at Zephyr, who was covered in dirt. Zephyr, you're like this again. Do you want to call a doctor? Or the police? No need. Then I'll call the boss tomorrow to take a look. I'll go with you to see your boss tomorrow. Why are you going to see my boss? I met some bad guys on the way. Your boss happened to pass by and help me beat them away. I see. Portia nodded. Where's my phone? Zephyr took out a pile of broken pieces. I accidentally broke it. Portia was speechless. It doesn't look like it's broken. I'll pay you another one tomorrow. The SIM card is not broken. It can still be used. Zephyr's face was calm. This made Portia, who had been anxious the whole night, feel her anger disappear. Go wash up. I'll prepare something for you to eat. No need. I'll wash up and then go to bed. Sleep? You said you want to sleep? What's wrong? Is there a problem? Portia kept staring at Zephyr. Could this guy be an imposter? However, Zephyr did not care about Portia's thoughts. She turned around and went into the bathroom. Help me get my pajamas. The next day, when Portia woke up, she found that Zephyr had also woken up. Zephyr, you only slept for a few hours last night. Is it really enough? It's enough. How is your body? Zephyr went forward and reached out to touch Portia's forehead. Yes, the fever has gone down. Portia felt like she was being taken care of like a child in front of Zephyr. Do you really want to go with me to see my boss? Yes, I need to thank him personally. All right then. Our boss doesn't seem like a good person. It's rare for him to do something good. Zephyr was already used to Portia mocking her boss behind his back. After a good night's sleep, Zephyr looked even more energetic. Although she was injured again last night, after a good night's sleep, Zephyr's body and mind had recovered a lot. After the two women cleaned up and went out, Zephyr said, "Drive my car." Portia was naturally happy to drive Zephyr's car. After all, Zephyr's car was a sports car, and it saved her money on gas. In the car, Portia asked curiously, Zephyr, did boss get rid of those bad guys? Zephyr looked at Portia. What do you think? Portia thought for a moment and replied, Boss looks like he's always smiling, but when he fights, he doesn't let anyone stand. So, I really doubt that those bad guys are still alive. Some things are better known. Don't say or ask, Zephyr said indifferently. After all, this kind of thing is very troublesome. Don't cause trouble for your boss, and don't cause trouble for yourself. Chapter 1973. We're here. The manor on the cliff is the boss's home. Is your boss that rich? Very. You can't even imagine how rich he is. Let's hurry. We can still make it for breakfast. Portia said. Is that why you won't let me eat breakfast? Damn capitalists. You have no idea how extravagant his dining table is. After Portia parked the car, she brought Refra into the manor. Chun Zhao's family was indeed eating breakfast. Boss, Miss Fei Lai, hello. Fei Lai saw an unfamiliar woman come in with Portia. Boss, Miss Refra is here to thank you. Sir, other than thanking you for helping me last night, I'm also here to apply for a job. Apply? Yes. I plan on applying for the same position as Portia. Portia stared at Refra in shock. Was she here to steal her job? Chun Zhao tilted his head and looked at Refra. Give me a reason to hire you. I can handle things that you and Portia can't handle, Refra said. What about the salary? I'll ask for whatever Portia's salary is. Okay, Chun Zhao agreed. That's simple. Don't you need to think about it? Or a test? No, Chun Zhao said matter-of-factly. You're right. Things that Portia and I can't handle can be handled by you. Boss, I feel like you're planning on having Refra do something like murder or arson. Yeah. Chun Zhao shrugged. To be honest, this was one of the reasons Chun Zhao kept Refra. Refra was indeed a good helper. Of course, the main reason was that there were too many children at home. He really needed someone to share the burden with Portia. Welcome. Are you Refra? I'm Fei Lai. Hello, Miss Fei Lai. I won't keep you company. I'll have Chun and the kids show you around. Bye. Fei Lai hurried to work, while Chun Zhao started his morning exercise. Refra was very curious about Chun Zhao's training. However, she realized that Chun Zhao's training was very ordinary. Of course, this ordinary referred to the combat power that Chun Zhao had displayed in the battle against the dragons yesterday. If it was an ordinary person, it would be almost impossible to accomplish. Even she couldn't exercise as much as Chun Zhao. Zephyr stood in the front yard and watched Chun Zhao swim in the sea. Soon, he disappeared from her sight. But very soon, Revla could no longer enjoy the view of the sea so leisurely, because the children in the house soon began to make a scene. They had been holding it in for a few days. A few days ago, the weather was terrible and the sea was stormy. So, they were locked up at home every day. The furthest they could go was the front yard. Little Larissa could already trot, though not very steadily. Little Jerlin had already transformed into a little monkey. She had basically climbed everything in the house that could be climbed. At this moment, Jerlin had climbed to the top of the dragon's head in the courtyard. Zephyr was speechless, but she did not find it strange. This dragon head was clearly one of his spoils of war. Portia was not going to let Jevra off so easily. Even though it was Zafra's first day on the job, and she was injured. But Portia still wanted Zafra to feel the horror of these children and the pain she had suffered in the past. Although Zafra was young, she was no worse than Portia when it came to housework. Just then, there was a call from the housekeeping system. Zafra was about to pick it up when she realized that Chun Zhao had returned. Hey, West. Chun Zhao was drying his hair with a towel. How's the past 2 days? It's not going well, West said. We're in trouble, West said. The situation here is more serious than we imagined. This is no longer a battle, but a war. Zafra stood not far away, listening to Chun Zhao and West's conversation. Chun Zhao did not turn on the speaker, but Zafra could still hear West's voice. After all, Zafra was a former dragon slayer. Her senses and reactions were far superior to normal people. With her hearing alone, even in a noisy environment, she could hear people's conversation from a few meters away, not to mention indoors. Do you need me to help? President, you know that I can't accept it. This was West's insistence. If Chun Zhao came, all their previous efforts would be for nothing. Chun Zhao was too powerful. He heard from Ruan Fazabin's call today. Chun Zhao had killed another 12 dragons last night. If Chun Zhao participated in this battle between the natural and the unnatural, he would not be able to survive. Then the situation would be reversed in an instant. There was no suspense at all. West didn't bring the members of the association to carry out the Scarlet mission for the reward. It was for the training of the association members. He felt that this kind of serious situation and pressure was what the members of the association should be facing. Guild leader, I know what you want to say. West talked to Chun Zhao once a day. Although it was to report on the progress of the mission, it was more like to ensure his safety. Chun Zhao's calls always ended with one sentence. If there's any danger, call him immediately. All right, I won't repeat it. Be careful. After hanging up, Chun Zhao looked at Thera. You and Portia stay at home and help me take care of the kids. I'll be out for 2 hours. Yes, sir. Boss. Revla had gradually adapted to this job. It had to be said that her adaptability was very strong. This was also an ability cultivated by his previous identity. Chun Zhao drove to the headquarters. Right now, there were 4 people in the headquarters: Aduz, Nelly Lancey, Jiggs, and Maiev. A few days ago, Chun Zhao had heard that Maiev had awakened magic and had a special bloodline. It was normal for people like Maiev to awaken magic or a special bloodline after being strongly stimulated. She should be a first or second night awakener. However, she'd been pretending to be dead at the time. Everyone thought that she was in a coma or in self-isolation, but she'd actually woken up. This was why no one had noticed her night of awakening. Because she'd been in the association's headquarters, she'd been killed by the members of the association and the evil spirit group during the night of awakening. Everyone had even forgotten that it was the night of awakening. Sometimes, when one's power reached a certain level, this kind of attack couldn't even be considered an attack anymore. The only one who could truly pressure the members of the association was probably Third Night. There were already a few people in the association who could face the Third Night alone. Chapter 1974. Hey, Adonis Ziggs. As soon as Chun Zhao arrived, he saw Aduz and Jiggs fishing by the lake. Giggs, you really don't look like you should be sitting by the lake fishing. Giggs was only in his early 30s. In Chun Zhao's impression, fishing was something people around Aduz's age would do. Giggs had told him that he had a company that did the import and export of agricultural products. It was not a small scale, and the company's annual profit was about $50 million. This was already the scale of a large company. He seemed to be a little disheartened now. He didn't care about the company anymore and just stayed at the association's headquarters all day. Chun Zhao didn't mind having another pair of chopsticks in the headquarters, but he still felt that Giggs should pull himself together. President, are you saying that I'm old? Aduz looked at Chun Zhao. Fine, I misspoke. Chun Zhao shrugged. Where are Miss Neri and Miss Maiev? Ever since Maiev awakened, he's been practicing magic all day with Miss Neri. Jig's face was full of resentment. Mr. Chun, can I awaken too? I can't help you with that. My wife is also a normal person, Chun Zhao said helplessly. But I can make your body better. This is for you. Chun Zhao tossed a strengthening potion to Jiggs. We have a few members who haven't awakened their magic power. They're no weaker than spiritualists. Actually, Chun Zhao could understand Gig's pain. He blamed himself for being weak and powerless. And now, even his wife, who had been hurt in the past, was becoming stronger. She didn't even need his protection anymore. On the contrary, he was the one who needed protection the most. That was why he had become so decadent. No matter how much money he could make, it couldn't make up for this sense of loss. Aside from me, Aduz said, Mr. Chun, can you train me? There are people in the association who are more professional than me, such as Gaia and Klaus. They are better than me in this aspect, and I'm not suitable to train you. Just then, Nelly Lancey and Maiev walked over. Mr. Chun, the two greeted. Mr. Chun, I want you to take a look at my magic. I don't know much about other systems of magic. I just want to see how effective magic is in actual combat. To be honest, Chun Zhao was more willing to let her husband, Jiggs, take care of this, instead of asking an outsider like him to come. Mr. Chun, Jiggs said, Maiev doesn't have anyone to teach him. Please help him. All right then, we better back off, Nelly Lancey said. Maiev's magic is very powerful. Is this enough? Aduz asked. Not enough, Nellie Lancey said. Mayev's spell has a large range. By this time, they had already retreated 50 meters away. Nellie Lancey didn't stop until she was 100 meters away. This should be a safe distance, Nellie said. Chun Zhao faced Maiev. Maiev, you can start now. I can attack however I want. Since it's a test of magic, you can start with the weaker ones. Yes, I understand. Maiev nodded. After Maiev reminded her, she started to attack. Her attacks did not have complex magic incantations or time to prepare. Instead, they were instant. She only needed to open her mouth to attack. Ah! Maiev screamed. Chun Zhao was shocked at first, thinking that something had happened to Maiev. But very soon, he realized that Maiev's screams were magic attacks. There was no trace of a sound. It was just an invisible sound wave. Chun Zhao felt something hit his body. Even his ears felt pressurized. The sound wave attack was not strong, but it was not disintegrated by Chun Zhao's non-elemental body. The effect was minuscule, but it was indeed effective on Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao immediately understood. The sound wave attack looked like a magic attack, but it was actually a physical attack. This was because sound had to be transmitted through a medium. It was a physical transmission method. Chun Zhao's non-elemental body was only effective against magic attacks. Also, Chun Zhao remembered that apart from physical attacks, sound was also the strongest attack on eardrums. Mr. Chun, how's my magic? Not bad, but not enough. You could try to increase its power. Is it group or individual? You seem to be good at studying it alone, Chun Zhao said in surprise. There are actually group and individual attacks. Let's try individual attacks first. Maiev took 2 more steps back and opened her mouth again. But this time, she did not make a loud sound. Instead, it was very soft. But to Chun Zhao, the sound was very ear-piercing. Even Chun Zhao could not help but grit his teeth and cover his ears with his hands. However, the sound was too penetrating. Chun Zhao's hands were actually useless. Just then, Chun Zhao thought of an idea. He could directly control the spiritual qi in the world and expel all the air in his ears, turning his ears into a vacuum. As expected, without air as a medium, the sound lost its effect. After Maiev stopped attacking, Chun Zhao's ears were finally filled with air again. Chun Zhao gave her a thumbs up. Amazing. Your magic is very strong. Really, not many people can make me uncomfortable, Chun Zhao said. This is a high-frequency sound, right? Yes. Then let me see group attacks. Maiev opened his mouth again, and this time, it was a loud and clear scream. Ah! With Maiev as the center, the sound wave instantly exploded and spread in all directions. Chun Zhao gasped. So powerful. The impact was not very powerful, but the range was very large. Maiev could at least kill people within a 50-meter radius. Of course, the power of this attack range was nothing to write home about. Against a normal person, she could kill them instantly within this attack range. But it was not enough against a spiritualist. Maiev, your attack range is large enough, but it's not powerful enough. Do you have any suggestions for my magic? You've already reached a very high standard for individual attacks. If a spiritualist faces you for the first time, it'll be difficult for them to defend against your full power attack. As for group attacks, you need to modify them further. The range is important, but the power is barely satisfactory. If you want to improve, you need to modify group attacks first. Reduce the range appropriately and ensure the power of the attack. Chapter 1975. At first, Portia didn't want Zephyra to become Chun Zhao's personal assistant. But after Chun Zhao left, she suddenly realized that it was pretty good. Zephyr worked really hard. She wouldn't complain at all. She could just lie down and rest. Zephyr was more professional than her. In the Bright Moon Mountain Manor, he could do anything. Miss Portia, you better get up and work, the butler system reminded her. Your boss, my master, is on his way back. Portia jumped up like a startled bird. She had a nervous reaction to Chun Zhao now. She would react when she heard his name. But Portia quickly realized that Chun Zhao was still on his way. Why did she react so much? Portia slumped back onto the sofa. Comfortable, comfortable. Portia jumped up from the sofa. Chun Zhao put his hands in his pockets and smiled at Portia. Looks like you always work like this when I'm not here. Really? No, it's not like that. Zephyr finished everything today, so I took a break. Really? Why is Zephyr still working? Is this finished? Boss, didn't the butler say you were still on your way? Liar. He's a liar. Miss Portia, when I said Master was on his way, I meant he was on his way in. Maybe I should change my expression. There's no need to change it. I think this expression suits my interests very well. Boss. Zephyr came over. Boss, I'll go prepare lunch now. You don't have to be in charge of lunch. Zephyr. Boss is a magical chef who never shows his face. As long as we don't enter the kitchen, lunch and dinner will be prepared automatically and then disappear. Portia had learned her lesson and knew that she couldn't find Chun Zhao. Once, she sensed that someone was cooking in the kitchen, so she ran into the kitchen. But she didn't see anyone. There was indeed something cooking in the pot. Then Chun Zhao forced her into the kitchen, and she took over his work. Since then, Portia had completely lost interest in it. She didn't disturb the mysterious chef anymore. Zephyr looked at Chun Zhao curiously. Portia, have you heard the story of the conch girl? Never heard of it. A long time ago, a young man picked up a field snail and kept it in his basin. The field snail became the field snail lady. Every time the young man went out to farm, the field snail lady would help him with the housework, cooking, and washing. Portia rolled her eyes. Boss, are you trying to tell me that you have a conch girl in your house? You can understand it that way. As if I'd believe you. Although Zephyr didn't believe in conch girls either. However, she knew that it was definitely a supernatural force. After all, Chun Zhao was a powerful spiritualist. So it wouldn't be strange for some kind of supernatural power to appear in his house. Just as Portia had said, Chun Zhao had them go to the kitchen to bring out the dishes at midnight. Revra found that there were holes less than 60 centimeters in the walls of the house, including the kitchen. These holes should be for some very small creatures to enter and exit. They should be some short, psychic supernatural creatures. Portia had been working here for more than 2 months and hadn't found a single clue. In less than half a day, Revra had already figured out what was going on. Of course, this also had to do with the unequal information they had. After lunch, Portia and Revra sent the dishes to the kitchen and could finally rest. Chun Zhao forced all the kids to take a nap. This was Chun Zhao's strict requirement and couldn't be disobeyed. Some kids tried to resist. Then, Chun Zhao would give them a Banshee's Charm combo and let them sleep until the end of time. As time went by, no kid refused to take a nap anymore. Revra and Portia chatted in the yard, enjoying the sunlight while enjoying the sea breeze. Chun Zhao took some drinks, beer, and snacks and sat beside them. Revra, what happened to your original job? I quit. Won't your company cause trouble for you? I completed a certain amount of work, Revra said calmly. No one will. Boss, Revra, are you guys trying to imply something? Revra used to be an assassin in an assassin organization. She got tired of her life and decided to give up on it. She wants to live like a normal person. Revra also came into contact with the secrets of the assassin organization, so she's worried that the organization will send assassins to kill her. Is that right? Yes. Chun Zhao nodded. Huh, am I right? Portia jumped up, but when she saw Chun Zhao and Revra's mocking smiles, she realized that she'd been tricked again. Just then, Chun Zhao's phone rang again. Chun Zhao returned to his room to answer. Zhang, how did it go? The Dragon King agreed, but he asked for Tugu's heart as evidence. Don't tell me you want it yourself, you old fox. We have to have the most basic trust between us. Do you know that it hurts me to hear you say that? Stop bullshitting. Did you get the manual for the Yellow Jade Divine Residence? No. Do you think Qingqing Mountain's library is a library? Even if it's a library, you need a library card. You said it's easy. Chun Zhao and Zhang Tianyi called. Every time, it was just bullshitting and trash talking. Both sides were still enjoying it. By the way, Chun Zhao, why don't we work together to take care of those heaven-piercing problems? I'll contact them and you'll do the work. We'll split the benefits. You'll get as far away from me as you can get. Don't be unhappy. My connections are all worth tens of thousands of gold coins. I can't be bothered with you. Call me after you know how to use the yellow jade divine residence. Don't call me randomly. International calls are really expensive. By the way, Qinzhao, you really don't want to come back? Go back for what? After all, China is the most supernatural region. There are more masters. If you come back, you'll be able to meet more spiritualists. The atmosphere here will be different. I like the feeling of a monkey being king when there's no tiger in the mountain. I can do whatever I want in America. Why would I go to a place full of competition? Chen Zhao's words revealed his lack of ambition. Then it's good to come back and participate in some small activities. After all, whether it's the East or the West, constitutionalism emphasizes communication. Everyone takes what they need and complements each other's weaknesses. I realize that every time we talk, you'll ask me to come back. Are you thinking of some shady business again? Chapter 1976. You're talking about me as if I'm some big bad guy. You've done such a thing before. You tricked 2 dragons into coming to our country and almost killed them. You'll never be able to clear your name from this dark history. Yes, I've done such a thing before. But look at who they are. We're not that close. Don't call us brothers. I don't know you that well, and I really don't have any confidence in your character. You've hurt my heart. I thought we were friends despite the difference in age. Stop bullshitting. That Dragon King wants Tugu's heart. He doesn't want Melita's heart. It's Tugu who's competing with his son for the throne, not his wife. How can we give it to him? Don't worry. He'll think it's too easy if we're in such a hurry. What's there to be afraid of? If he dares to go back on his word, we'll just expose it and say that he sent people to kill Tugu. As long as he still has some dignity, he'll have to consider the consequences. You're no less shameless than me. Zhang Tianyi sighed. By the way, how strong is the Dragon King? Very powerful. I don't know the specifics. After all, he's lived for almost 3,000 years. How long can this old monster live? Not long. He'll die within 100 years. Otherwise, he wouldn't be looking for an heir. Zhang Tianyi said, and at his age, he basically doesn't dare to fight with others. Every time he fights, his lifespan will be shortened by a few years. Why is that? Will fighting reduce his lifespan? You were full of vigor at that age. Even if you fought with your life on the line every day, you could still recover quickly. However, people who have reached the limit of their lifespan have to use their own strength to sustain their lives, just like the 23rd generation. Normally, she should have died 5 years ago because she relied on her own strength to break through the limit of her lifespan. It's the same for the Dragon King. Old Zhang, you won't tell others that I have the stone, will you? Do you think I'm a gossiper? Don't forget, when you learned about the origin stone from me, you immediately told the 23rd generation about it. I'm old friends with the 23rd generation. I have nothing to do with the Dragon King. For the dragon race, they never had to worry about humans. They had always been the dominant party in their dealings with the humans. Humans only knew how to back down, and back down. Every single one of them is a nuclear bomb. Perhaps the humans had more nukes than their population. However, if humans were to use nuclear weapons, they would basically be harming the enemy while harming themselves. All the dragons had to do was hide in a human city. It was unknown whether or not the humans' nuclear bombs could kill the dragons, but the humans themselves would definitely be the first to suffer. Therefore, unless it was an all-out war, humans would definitely be at a disadvantage. At least, that was what Trish and Saint thought in the past. But in that battle, they had personally witnessed that terrifying face. He laughed and killed all the dragons. Now, they were back in Los Angeles. After a few days, the 2 of them returned. Sheng, those treasures will not disappear even if they are buried underground for a few years. There is no need to go back now. Cui Xin was very dissatisfied. In her opinion, it was too dangerous if that human found out. They didn't even have the chance to struggle. Deep in their hearts, they had already been branded with a deep fear by that human. If it wasn't necessary, they definitely wouldn't return here. But Sheng An's greed for the treasures won over his desires. Cui Xin also didn't want to see Sheng An die here. At least, she had the world compass. If they encountered that man, they would only need to delay him for 3 minutes, and they would be able to escape. The world compass was an extremely powerful divine artifact. Even if it couldn't be used anytime and anywhere, one couldn't deny its power. Moreover, it was just a part. It wasn't a real divine artifact. Chui Xian's goal was to complete the divine artifact, to achieve the final, perfect form. And before getting the diamond, all from Sheng, he couldn't die. Therefore, she had to accompany Sheng and back to Los Angeles. Of course, they had made preparations before coming. They had thought of a way to fool the Dragon Slayer's monitoring device. They had even changed their appearance. Chui Xian and Sheng, and carefully returned to the manor. There were no changes in the manor. It was as if nothing had happened. After all, the battle had been in an alternate dimension, so it didn't affect the real world. Chui Xian and Sheng and were still worried that Chun Zhao or the other Dragon Slayers had set up some device here. Therefore, they were even more careful. They observed outside the manor for half a day until the sun set. After confirming that there was no one in the manor, Sheng and Chui Xian entered. Sheng quickly entered the study and operated the mechanism on the wall. Only then did he open a secret passage in the wall. Just remove the wall. Why do you have to be so troublesome? Chui Xian said impatiently. The mechanisms here are all connected. So what? Could it be that your traps here can harm me? Or you? No. Then why are you wasting time? The mechanisms here can't hurt us, but they can destroy the treasures here. Chui Xian glanced at Sheng dissatisfied. But Sheng didn't care at all. There was only his treasure in his heart. His passion and greed for treasures surpassed everything else. Wait for me here. Don't follow me for the rest of the way, Sheng said in the narrow secret passage. Scrooge, are you afraid that I'll steal your treasures? I'm only interested in the caltrop all, Chui Xian said unhappily. But Sheng was very firm. If Chui Xian questioned whether she wanted to follow him, Sheng might fight her. If they attracted the attention of that human, then both of them would be dead. Chui Xian didn't want to force Sheng too much. Sheng walked forward alone until he disappeared into the darkness. Sheng's treasures were hidden very well. He'd also set up a special barrier around them. If anyone tried to rob him of his treasures, the treasures would be directly sent into a different dimension. Sheng came to the treasure room. It was about 100 square meters, but there were large amounts of gold, silver, gems, and all kinds of art inside. Sheng let out a long sigh. His eyes became misty. Every time he saw his 400 years of accumulation, Sheng would sink into it. It had almost become his weakness. It was a desire that was crazier and greedier than others. When he faced the treasures, he had no way to resist. Chapter 1977. His head partially turned into a dragon. Then he opened his mouth and began to suck. All the treasures were sucked into his mouth. His magic was to shrink, and not only himself, but other objects could also be shrunk. In fact, shrinking objects was much easier than shrinking oneself. Sheng quickly swept away all the treasures and collections here. All the treasures were hidden in one of his dragon teeth. Only then did Sheng walk out of the treasure room with satisfaction. Chui Xian was already impatient. When Sheng came out, Chui Xian didn't give him a good look. We can go now, Sheng said with satisfaction. When will you give it to me? Chui Xian didn't want to act with Sheng. He was too unsafe, and with his greedy personality, he would expose them sooner or later. So Chui Xian couldn't wait to escape from Sheng's side. He was a time bomb, and they didn't even know when he would blow them to pieces. I want you to take me to Treasure Island, Sheng said. Impossible. I will only tell you the location of Treasure Island. Then you give me the caltrop cone, and we won't owe each other anything. How do I know if the location you said is true or false? I don't believe you. Just as Chui Xian didn't trust and hate Sheng, and Sheng didn't trust Chui Xian either. I don't have to lie to you. Maybe you don't even know the location of Treasure Island, and you're lying to me. Sheng's suspicions weren't superfluous. With Chui Xian's nature, she was likely to make up the location of Treasure Island for him. This was all possible. Chui Xian was annoyed. Anyway, I won't go to Treasure Island again. Why? Anyway, can't you just take me to Treasure Island and then come out? There's a big snake on Treasure Island, and my world compass was taken from it. If I return to Treasure Island, it will never let me leave so easily. Can't you beat that big snake? If I say that big snake is Jormungandr, would you believe it? Chui Xian's expression was extremely solemn. You must be joking. That's just a legend. Sheng An's expression also changed slightly. To humans, we are also legends. Chui Xian looked at Saint and said, but I really saw it. The head of that giant snake came out of the dark clouds. Its head was even bigger than my body. If it wasn't Jormungandr, I can't think of anyone else with such a huge body. In Norse mythology, Jormungandr, a monster that perished together with Thor, the god of thunder. One of the three gods of destruction born to the evil god Loki and the female, giant Angrboda. The evil god Loki and the female, giant Angrboda had 3 children together. The eldest was the demon wolf Fenrir, the youngest was the goddess of death, Hel, and the second was Jormungandr. Jormungandr and Thor could be said to be fated enemies. They had fought many times in their lives, and in the end, both of them perished together. Jormungandr's head and tail could circle the world, so it was also called the world snake, and it also symbolized eternity. Also, I saw an upside-down palace in the sky. I suspect that the palace is the Odin race's palace, Asgard. I still don't believe it. It's just a legend. Even the dragons couldn't confirm if the Odin race really existed or if it was just a legend. I don't care if you believe it or not. Anyway, I won't go back to Treasure Island and face that terrifying snake. You have the world compass. You can escape at any time. I stole the world compass from Jormungandr. Do you think it'll work on him? Chui Xian sneered. Chui Xian tried to explain, but Satan was still firm. Both sides fell into a stalemate. Neither was willing to take a step back. To Chui Xian, Treasure Island was also a nightmare. It was the same as asking her to walk around Chen Zhao's house. Would Chen Zhao talk to her about life and ideals? He would probably only treat her as a trophy. Hang her head in front of his house. If that's the case, let's go our separate ways, Saint said. Chui Xian was furious. She criticized Saint. Are you breaking up with me? Breaking up? Not really. I just want to protect my interests. You're full of lies. I definitely won't believe a liar. Chui Xian took a deep breath and calmed herself down. Do you know where I got the information about Treasure Island? Come on, make up a new lie. I got the information from my father, Chui Xian said. It's a nightmare that has tortured him his entire life. Satan sneered at Chui Xian. A patricide actually has the face to mention your father? I'm helping him escape, Chui Xian said coldly. Don't make patricide sound so noble. Forget it. I don't want to continue this topic. Chui Xian didn't want to talk about it either. Patricide wasn't an easy crime for her. After all, she'd received the title of the most evil dragon because of it. Even among the dragons, patricide was a huge crime. There's indeed no need for us to continue talking. You'll regret it. Chui Xian's cold eyes stared at Sane. Since I've already been charged with patricide, I don't mind being charged with killing my brother. You want to fight me? Are you sure you want to fight me here? Satan sneered at Chui Xian. He knew how afraid Chui Xian was of death and Chun Zhao. If they fought here, they would be too close to Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao would definitely notice the shockwaves from their battle. Chui Xian obviously wouldn't fight here. She just turned around and left silently. She was good at being cunning and sinister. These were all things she had learned from human beings. To achieve her goals, she could do even more outrageous things. Saint just wanted to leave with his treasures and collections. The siblings parted ways just like that. They didn't get along, but they had a common thought. Even if they had to fight to the death, they couldn't do it in L.A. The consequences of making a move here were very serious. Saint had to take human transportation. Chui Xian didn't need that. She used the world compass to leave. In the blink of an eye, Chui Xian had already left L.A. She appeared in an unfamiliar area. Chui Xian looked around, trying to figure out where she was. Strange. What city is this? Chui Xian muttered to herself. Miss, are you lost? Chapter 1978. Chui Xian turned to look beside her. It was a white-haired Asian old man with a goatee. The Asian old man was looking at him with a lecherous gaze. Chui Xian's expression darkened. She raised her hand to slap the old man. Of course, if this slap landed on her face, it wouldn't just be one slap. Junshan Taoist technique, borrowing the power of heaven and earth, freeze. Zhang Tianyi grinned. Little girl, did you want to kill me just now? Chui Xian's raised arm suddenly felt like it was filled with cement. She couldn't move at all. This made her realize that the old man in front of her wasn't as simple as he seemed. Chui Xian immediately turned to leave, but she soon realized that her feet also felt like they were filled with lead. After trying a few times, Chui Xian realized that she couldn't remove the freeze curse at all. She didn't expect to be so unlucky. She used a random teleportation and actually teleported to the side of an expert. Little girl, do you know that this is China? If you use magic casually here, you'll be spanked. Slap! You dare hit me? Chui Xian glared at Zhang Tianyi angrily. I'm hitting you. So what if you're a dragon? Zhang Tianyi hit her again. Looking at his face, he seemed to be enjoying it. You know I'm a dragon? With my fiery eyes, no matter what kind of monster you are, I can see you. Zhang Tianyi's eyes stared at Chui Xian's chest. Let go of me, or I'll show my true form. Chui Xian didn't expect to be so unlucky. She'd long heard that China was the most active place in the supernatural world. In the past, she thought it was nothing special. Now, she truly believed that she could meet such a hidden expert on the streets. If she knew that the person in front of her was the world's #1 in the supernatural world, how would she feel? True form? Why don't you show me? Zhang Tianyi sneered at Chui Xian. If you want to be steamed, just show your true form. Ask your Dragon King if he dares to show his true form in China. How dare a little loach like you act so presumptuously in front of me? Although they were in the downtown area, Zhang Tianyi was confident that he could kill Chui Xian before she went berserk, especially when Chui Xian was still under his spell. You dare kill me? My clan will definitely not let you off. Chui Xian threatened. Zhang Tianyi jumped up and slapped the back of Chui Xian's head. Aren't you going to let me go? Come on. Won't you let me go? Come on. Zhang Tianyi was completely unconvinced by Chui Xian's threats. I'm over 100 years old. What haven't I seen? That's enough. I'm a member of the dragon race, after all. Are you a space dragon? No. After the death of the last space dragon, there hasn't been a space dragon in the Dragon Clan for more than 1,000 years. If you're a space dragon, then the Dragon Clan would have already made a big fuss about it. But how can you suddenly appear here? Could it be some kind of magical treasure? Zhang Tianyi looked at Chui Xian up and down. Spatial magic? Or some kind of magic treasure or divine artifact? Chui Xian's heart tightened. Zhang Tianyi immediately smiled. It seems to be a spatial treasure. Zhang Tianyi snapped his fingers, and Chui Xian immediately felt the spell on her body being released. Come back to the mountain with me. Chui Xian was still standing in the same place, staring at Zhang Tianyi warily. Zhang Tianyi turned his head and looked at Chui Xian, who was standing still. You want to snatch my divine artifact? Zhang Tianyi laughed. I'm not interested in spatial divine artifacts. What? Chui Xian didn't believe that there would be someone who wouldn't be tempted in the face of a divine artifact. Although I haven't used a spatial type divine artifact before, I have some understanding of it. The better the effect of a spatial divine artifact, the greater the side effects. This is the existence of karma. A spatial divine artifact can't be used to escape, because you can escape from your enemies, but you can't escape karma. You must have used a spatial divine artifact to escape recently, which is why you were teleported to me. What kind of logic is that? There are roughly 3 types of spatial divine artifacts. The first type is the small jump type, which is suitable for combat to improve one's mobility. The advantage is that it can cast spells quickly, but the disadvantage is that it consumes a lot of magic power. The second type is directional teleportation, which has no side effects. However, the disadvantage of this type of spatial divine artifact is that it takes a long time to prepare, and the one-time consumption of magic power can almost drain you dry. This type of spatial divine artifact is basically used as a means of transportation and is almost useless in battle. The third type is the spatial divine artifact that you are using now. which teleports randomly. The operating mechanism of your spatial divine artifact is very complicated. It doesn't consume magic power, but it will involve you in karma. There's a high chance that you will be teleported to someone who will have karma with you, perhaps your family or friends, or perhaps your enemies. How do you know that my spatial divine artifact teleports randomly? When you appeared on the street, you obviously didn't know where you were and had been standing on the street observing. Zhang Tianyi said, and with your level, you can't teleport without consumption, so it can only be the third type of random teleportation. And it can be said that you appeared in front of me, which can be said to be inevitable. I've used it a few times, and nothing like this has happened before. Why is that? When you draw a line on a piece of white paper with your eyes covered, nothing will happen during the process. Then, when you draw the second line may pass through the mark left behind by the first line. When you draw the third line, the chances of touching the previous mark will increase, and the chances of the fourth line will be even greater. Over and over again, the chances of encountering it will increase. It's the same with the divine artifact in your hand. Nothing happened the first few times, which can only mean that your luck is good. But this time, you just happen to be teleported in front of me, which means that your luck is starting to change. You know so much about spatial divine artifacts. Is it because there are many spatial divine artifacts in this world? It's not a lot, but it's not a small number either. Our sect also has them, but very few people use them. The three types of spatial divine artifacts I mentioned all have their own limitations. Cui Xiyin's eyes sparkled as she looked at Zhang Tianyi. She was considering using the world compass again after its cooldown was over. I know what you're thinking. You want to try again, right? Could it be that you think I should just surrender? Zhang Tianyi smiled and stared at Cui Xiyin. If you want to teleport to the side of the person you fear the most the next time you teleport, you can give it a try. Do you know who I fear the most? Chapter 1979. Cui Xiyin's heart skipped a beat. She felt like she was suffering from a human phobia. This kind of mental illness really existed in the dragon race. They feared weak humans. The Chun Zhao she'd met before had already made her feel powerless. Now this old human made her scalp go numb. Zhang Tianyi calculated with his fingers. The person I fear the most should also be from China, but he has the ability to kill dragons and tigers. The next time you meet him, it'll be your death. Zhang Tianyi's words made Cui Xiyin even more afraid. You're lying to me, right? Zhang Tianyi ignored Cui Xiyin's doubt and kept his fake expression. Also, I've calculated that you'll die in his hands in less than half a year. What should I do? What should I do? Cui Xiyin finally believed him. She knew that in China's supernatural world, prophecy spells had always been very powerful. Almost every spiritualist knew how to do some divination. Since Zhang Tianyi was so powerful, his prophecy spells must be very powerful too. Come on my mountain and live for 3 years. I guarantee that you'll be rid of all disasters and bad luck. You'll be happy and everything will go smoothly. Really, you don't have to believe me, but after you go up the mountain, I won't kill you or lock you up. You can come and go if you want, but don't go back up after you go down. Cui Xiyin's eyes sparkled. 3 years was just a blink of an eye for dragons. However, 3 years might be the best time to find and assemble that divine artifact. Can it be shorter? Do you think this is a market where you can bargain? Cui Xiyin bit her lip and finally said, I'll go up with you, but if I find something wrong, I'll go down immediately. Up to you. With Zephyra, Chun Zhao's body and mind were different. Zephyra was more diligent, patient, and capable than Portia. She never complained about the dirty and tiring work at home. She always finished it silently. With Chun Zhao's wicked mouth, he obviously wouldn't miss this opportunity. He'd belittle Portia to nothing. Chun Zhao was very free these 2 days. He spent most of his time cultivating and training. He didn't go out either. Today, Chun Zhao was diving in the sea. Zephyra and Portia were cleaning the house. At that moment, a stranger entered the Bright Moon Villa. Both Zevra and Portia were confused when they saw the stranger, because the butler system didn't give him any notifications. Those who did not receive any notifications from the butler system meant that they had been approved and could enter the Bright Moon Villa directly. Portia, do you know this person? I don't know him. I've never seen him here. Oh, then let's inform the boss. He should be here for the boss. Refra looked at the stranger who had already walked through the door. Zephra, on the other hand, went to the front alley to greet them. But when Zephra saw this person, she felt that there was something different about him. This was clearly the first time they had met, but she felt that this person was exuding a kind of affinity. This stranger was obviously a fatty, and he wasn't cute, nor was he handsome. However, he felt that this person should be a good person. Could it be that she had fallen in love with this person? No, this is the influence of magic. Zephyr woke up instantly. Are you using magic on me? Huh? Lila Gavich turned to look at Zevla. Are you psychic too? Who are you? I'm here for Mr. Chun, Lila Gavich said. Also, I didn't use any magic on you. What you felt was my natural affinity. Zephyr looked at Lila Gavich in confusion. She had never interacted with elves before. She didn't even know about their existence. She had to admit that in her past life as a dragon slayer, her knowledge had always been very narrow. She knew of the existence of the dragon clan, but she did not know of the existence of the elf clan. Of course, with Lila Gavich's burly appearance, it was difficult for normal people to associate him with elves. Is Mr. Chin home? He is, but he's swimming in the sea. My other colleague has already informed Mr. Chan. Also, my colleague is a normal person. Okay, I understand. Lila Gavich nodded. Are you Mr. Chin's subordinate? More accurately, his personal assistant, Zephyr said. Zephyr was curious about Lila Gavich's identity. However, since Lila Gavich was Chun Zhao's guest, as a subordinate, she wouldn't rashly ask about his identity. When Lila Gavich entered the living room, Chun Zhao was already back. Lila, why are you here? Mr. Chun, I want to ask for your help. What help? Chun Zhao looked at Lila Gavich. The two of them were allies purely based on benefits. However, Chun Zhao was quite grateful to Lila. After all, Chun Zhao had learned the power of Jin from Lila. He had helped Chun Zhao a lot. So, if it wasn't too troublesome, Chun Zhao was willing to help. Portia, let's go out, Zephyr said. Zephyr was too good at reading people's expressions. She knew that Lila Gavich was hesitating because of her and Portia's presence. After Zephyr and Portia left, Lila Gavich finally spoke. I'm going to become an elven emissary, Lila Gage said. I remember that you just became a great elf not long ago, right? You're going to level up again so soon? It's different. Great elf is a level of power among the elves, while elf envoy is a special status. As long as certain conditions are met, any elf can become an elf envoy. Oh, like elf king and elf elder. It's a status and not a symbol of power, right? That's true, but there's a difference. The Elven King needs the blood of the Elven royal family in order to become the Elven King. The royal family's bloodline has already disappeared from our race for 1,000 years. Not anyone can become the Elven King, but the Elven envoys don't have the bloodline restriction. Okay, I don't understand. How can I help you? Help you suppress the nature elves? No. To become an elf envoy, I won't be facing those nature elves. Instead, I'll be facing a test from all living things. In your Chinese language, it's God's test. I have to go through it. Chun Zhao's eyes widened. Are you sure you're not joking with me? Do I look like I'm joking with you? Like being struck by lightning? No, the elf envoy's test isn't limited to lightning. Anyway, it's very troublesome. Anything is possible. If you're here these 2 days, I can help, but I definitely won't have time next week. Chapter 1980. It won't be that fast. There should be around a month. You can't confirm the exact time? To become an elf envoy, you first have to pay respects to the ancestors and receive their recognition. Then you have to receive the blessings of fairies and at least 90% of your tribe's recognition. The ancestors represent the dead, the fairies represent nature, and the tribe represents the living. Only with these three's recognition will you have the right to become an elf envoy. Then, you have to sacrifice dragon blood to the world tree and make your achievements known to millions of people. Speaking of this, Lila Gavik pulled up his sleeve. A dark red brand appeared on it. This brand will become fainter every day. When it finally disappears, it will be the day I face the test of all things in the world. It's estimated to be around 30 days. I can understand the first 3, but do you have dragon blood? Amanda Didier is a dragon, so of course his blood is dragon blood. What about the world tree? Does the world tree really exist in this world? In the legends of the elves are the fruits of the world tree. After falling to the ground, they turned into elves, so we're the children of the world tree. In the hearts of every elf, the world tree really exists. You said that the world tree exists, but where is it? I don't know. Every elf is looking for the world tree. They've been looking since ancient times. What about your achievements? Have you done anything great? I got someone to use my name as the main character and wrote a legendary adventure biography. Through distribution, I've sent out tens of millions of copies. Currently, this book has been at the top of the bestseller list for 3 weeks. Hearing Lila Gavik's words, Chun Zhao almost vomited blood. You can do that? Isn't your ceremony a bit too careless? This ceremony is an ancient ceremony. At that time, only real legendary heroes were qualified to compile their experiences and great deeds into a book and spread it for people to revere and worship. However, in this era, as long as you have money, these problems are no longer a problem. The restrictions of the past have also lost their meaning. Chun Zhao grinned. Is it really okay to blaspheme your ancestors' ceremony like this? Do you think the ancestors of our elves were very strict? Lila Gavik rolled his eyes. Cutting off the head of a tyrant, killing an evil dragon, defeating an army, destroying a country, saving a people, and challenging a demon king. You have to complete at least 3 of these to be considered great achievements. Do you think any elf envoy in the past has completed 3 of these? Chun Zhao was also dumbfounded. The ancestors of the elves were really ambitious. Any one of these achievements was almost impossible to complete. He actually needed 3 of them to be considered great achievements. Even for Chun Zhao, the only thing he was confident in was killing an evil dragon. The other missions were almost impossible. Actually, in the past, those elven envoys had to fabricate their great achievements to gain the recognition of the world tree. But in this era, everything has become more convenient. Indeed, according to Lila Gevich, in the past, when communication was not developed, it took years or even decades for a person's biography to circulate. According to Lila Gavik, it would take years or even decades for a person's biography to spread in the past. As long as they were willing to spend money, the entire world would know their name in half a month. Anyway, Chun Zhao just felt that this ceremony was too perfunctory. What's the point of being an elf envoy? It's just a title, Lila Gavik said. Chun Zhao pursed his lips. He clearly didn't believe Lila Gavik. The complicated ceremony that he'd gone through, so much trouble, definitely wasn't just for a title. But since he didn't say anything, Chun Zhao didn't ask. Okay, I'll take it, Chun Zhao said. Let me know when you feel like you're about to go through the tribulation. Lila Gavik nodded. Oh, the last Pacific storm of the year will come 4 days after Christmas. What do you mean? Chun Zhao looked at Lila Gavik in confusion. Mr. Chun, you've been asking about Treasure Island, right? Yes. Chun Zhao knew that he'd asked Lila Gavik before. At the same time, he'd asked him to help him gather all information about Treasure Island. I got a diary left behind by an adventurer from hundreds of years ago. He wrote a poem in the diary. I'm waiting for the storm. I'm a petrel chasing the storm. I'll go wherever the wind goes. That place will be the dreamland of all explorers and pirates. I'll enjoy endless glory and wealth, Lila Gavik said. After this adventurer left this diary, he went to look for the legendary Treasure Island. Storm, petrel? Skull Hanks once said that there was a witch in his team. When the storm came, the witch turned into a petrel and guided them to follow the storm. They found the 7 mysterious islands, and from there, they found their final destination, Treasure Island. Chun Zhao wasn't thinking about the treasures on Treasure Island. It was still unknown whether there were treasures or how many there were. What Chun Zhao really cared about was another question. Who had sent Skull Hanks to Chun Zhao? The letter had come from the explorer Fanity. However, in Chun Zhao's impression, Vanity shouldn't have much to do with supernatural events. Therefore, Chun Zhao really suspected that Vanity had sent him skull hanks. Or rather, someone had sent him a skull under Vanity's name. Chun Zhao couldn't contact Vanity either. He was very doubtful that she was still alive. The first time, Vanity had sent him a metal object. She was referring to the golden curse of Kamasa Island. The second time, she'd sent him skull hanks. She'd never sent him anything good. Skull hanks seemed to have been sent to guide Chun Zhao to Treasure Island. This meant that someone had already landed on Treasure Island and wanted to guide Chun Zhao to it. What was their goal? To share the treasures on Treasure Island with him? Chun Zhao wasn't that naive. There were only two reasons for wanting him to land on Treasure Island. One was to harm him. The other was that they needed help or help. Apart from these two possibilities, Chun Zhao couldn't think of a third one. Chapter 1981. There's still more than a month before the storm. How do you know? It's the fourth day after Christmas, which is December 29th. Can a weather forecast predict the weather in a month and a half? Mr. Chun, you're too amateurish. You can't predict the weather, but you can use prophecy. You're a spiritualist. Is that hard to understand? Plus, predicting the weather is just a small matter for a prophecy spiritualist. Chun Zhao felt very awkward. It was like a university professor being accused of being an amateur by a primary school student. However, Lila Gavich's words made Chun Zhao understand. The last chance to find the island would be at the end of the year. The wind and waves would definitely be huge. Should he bring his family? He'd also promised Fei Lai and the kids that he'd bring them on the treasure hunt. The only thing he knew now was how to find the island. However, finding the island seemed to require a special spell that could allow him to transform into a petrel. Of course, Chun Zhao wasn't sure if this was necessary. Just then, there was a knock on the door. "Boss, it's Miss Demi," Portia said. "Mr. Chun, I'm leaving now." "Okay." Chun Zhao took the phone from Portia. "Hello, it's Chun Zhao. Mr. Chun, please come to the military base and meet with your teammates." "Is that necessary?" "They're all elites," Demi said. "Must I go?" "I hope you can come. Don't tell me you've prepared a trap with guns and cannons for me. I'm not that bored." Demi's tone turned cold. "Actually, why don't you just send some people and leave the rest to me? Some things can't be explained over the phone," Demi said vaguely. "I'll talk to you in detail when you arrive." "Okay, I'll go now." Chun Zhao left Portia and Zephyr at home while he drove to the military base that Demi had given him. He couldn't find it with GPS, so Demi only gave him a map. For someone like Chun Zhao who had no sense of direction, finding the military base was rather difficult. It was mainly because he couldn't understand the map. Chun Zhao was driving an L, a now. Most of the time, he had to use GPS. He needed directions for every turn. After spending a lot of effort, they finally found the military base. The military base was located in the mountains and was surrounded by rocky valleys. It was very difficult to find. Moreover, he couldn't find this place on the satellite map, so he couldn't use satellite navigation. Demi was the supreme commander of this military base. When Chun Zhao's car reached the entrance of the military base, he was stopped by the sentries. The sentry pointed at the cordon and warning sign at the door and said, "No entry." "I'm looking for someone, Miss Demi." The sentry glanced at Chun Zhao. "Wait." As he spoke, the sentry returned to the sentry post and picked up the phone to dial the internal line. After confirming that Chun Zhao was indeed invited by Demi, she pulled up the railing. Chun Zhao's sports car attracted a lot of attention. Chun Zhao parked the car at the entrance of the headquarters. A few soldiers surrounded him. "Hey, lend me your car." Chun Zhao turned around and gave him the middle finger. "No." The soldiers cursed, but they couldn't do anything to Chun Zhao. After all, they were soldiers, not bandits. While Chun Zhao entered the building, they could only jump into the car to have fun. Chun Zhao knew what was going on behind him, but as long as they didn't destroy his car, he didn't ask. After finding Demi's office, Chun Zhao pushed the door open. Demi was handling some documents. She was about to explode because Chun Zhao did knock. Seeing that it was Chun Zhao, she suppressed her anger. "Mr. Chun, you're here. Have a seat. Would you like something to drink?" "No," Chun Zhao said. "Let's get straight to the point." Demi was very careful. She glanced outside and then locked the door from the inside. After returning to her seat, Demi finally said, "First, there's the issue of money. A qualified military operation can't be carried out by just one person. No matter how powerful you are, no matter how high your reward is, it doesn't mean anything. Only appropriate losses and sacrifices can reflect your value, the difficulty of this military operation, and the sense of accomplishment after the final completion. Do you understand what I mean? You don't look like a soldier. You look more like a politician. You speak of the soldiers' deaths so naturally. In the past, just like I thought, I naively believed that only the smallest number of casualties and losses could be considered a successful military operation. However, the facts prove me wrong. The soldiers who carried out the military operation did not receive any merit, and I did not receive any commendations either. This was because the higher-ups believed that our operations were all easy missions. Demi continued, and this operation, including your pay, will cost more than $30 million. What standard do you think the higher-ups will use to measure the value of this operation? Is it the enemy's strength? No, they'll judge based on the number of casualties. Chen Zhao didn't agree with Demi's thinking, but he wouldn't argue. They weren't his subordinates, anyway. Why should he care about their lives? But according to your military compensation, the total compensation for a soldier's death will add up to a few $100,000, right? Plus, the military's investment in a soldier is at least a few $100,000. So, a soldier's death is about $1 million. The compensation for a soldier's death was divided into several steps. One part was covered by the insurance company, and the other was covered by the military. There were one-time compensation and continuous compensation for the spouse and children until the children grew up or the spouse remarried. Yes, the economic loss of a soldier is about $2 million, and the loss of an elite special forces soldier is $2 million. So, I've arranged a team of around 15 people for you. How many do you need to die? Chen Zhao asked. Around 10 people, plus the consumption of some weapons and ammunition. The economic loss should be around $30 million. I won't kill them, Chen Zhao said. I don't need you to kill them. I can't guarantee that many of them will die. To be honest, Chen Zhao couldn't understand the higher-ups' thinking. An operation actually had to use the number of soldiers sacrificed as the standard of difficulty. Was this really the most advanced army in the world? It was practically black culture. I have another request, Demi said. What? Chapter 1982. The leader must die. You have your bottom line, and I have mine. Don't use your bottom line to challenge mine. All Chen Zhao could do was not come into contact with the soldiers, just like when they were on the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge. Back then, Chen Zhao had watched the monsters and soldiers fight as a bystander. But Chen Zhao wouldn't kill them. After all, they were teammates in name. Under any circumstances, attacking teammates was considered betrayal. If Chen Zhao did not come into contact with them, he would not know their names, personalities, and preferences. He would not develop feelings for them. Humans were strange creatures. A creature with a name and not had a name were two different concepts. For example, if a person gave their pet pig a name, the owner would not be able to tolerate the fate of the pig being eaten. In that case, the owner would not be able to tolerate the fate of the pet pig being eaten. Then, it would be personality and preferences. As the owner understood and had a deeper impression, a real image would be formed. After that, it would be personality and hobbies. With further understanding and a deeper impression, an image of flesh and blood would be established. Then, it would be personality and preferences. As one got to know and have a deeper impression, a real image would be formed. Feelings for other people or things would also develop. If Chen Zhao had feelings for them, even just a little, he wouldn't be able to watch them die. If Chen Zhao developed feelings for them, even a little, it would be difficult for him to watch them die. If the former was a problem of feelings, the latter was a problem of moral bottom line. Betrayal was not allowed or tolerated. This had always been the case. Fine, pretend I didn't say anything, as long as you don't protect him. Just then, the office door was pushed open. It was very forceful. One had to know that Demi had locked the door from the inside. It was clear that the person outside was no longer just pushing. A human-shaped Tyrannosaurus stood outside. It was a man who was thicker and taller than Gaia. "Hey, Demi, I heard that you have a visitor. I'm here to see who it is." The human-shaped Tyrannosaurus turned around and saw Chun Zhao sitting on the chair. He walked over and patted his shoulder. Chun Zhao was not sure if the Tyrannosaurus did it on purpose or not, but it was very forceful. "Are you Demi's boyfriend?" Cough, cough. No. Chun Zhao coughed a few times. He really looked like he was too weak to stand up to the wind. "Ham, he's your teammate." Demi sat on the chair calmly, her expression cold. "Teammates? I don't like strangers joining my team. It'll drag my team down," Ham said. "Rather than calling him a teammate, it would be better to call him a companion. He won't give you any trouble, but of course, he won't listen to any of your orders either. Since he doesn't listen to my orders, why should I let him travel with me?" Ham said unhappily. "Because this is my order. Do you understand?" Ham. Demi's attitude was even more unyielding. "No, I don't understand." Ham slammed his palms on Demi's desk, causing it to collapse. Demi pointed the gun at Ham's head. "Answer me. Do you understand?" Ham stared straight at Demi, as if he was going to force her to do something. However, Demi was even more determined than him. Her finger was already on the trigger. Ham heaved a sigh of relief. "Fine. You're the commanding officer. Whatever you say." With that, Ham turned around. Glancing at Chun Zhao beside him, he turned to leave. "You want him dead?" Chun Zhao asked. Demi glanced at Ham's departing back. "Do you understand now why I want him dead? Does he have a grudge against you? He was originally the commander here, but after I came, I snatched away the authority that should have belonged to him. Even he became my subordinate." Demi glanced outside. "There are still people loyal to him in the base." "So troublesome," Chun Zhao said in annoyance. "Even in the military, there are these kinds of power struggles. Gather here on Monday morning and we'll leave together." "Are we taking a military plane?" "No, we're taking civil aviation," Demi said. "Fine. You all came to Mexico as civilians." "Mexicali," the young man said. "Got it." When Chun Zhao went downstairs, he saw Ham standing beside his sports car. "Move, child." Ham put a hand on Chun Zhao's shoulder. "I hope you can give up on this mission." Chun Zhao turned his head silently and looked at Ham. "Child? You call me child? Do I look that young?" Ham narrowed his eyes at Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao smiled at Ham. "You should move." Ham thought for a moment. In the end, he moved back and let Chun Zhao get in. Ham was displeased with Chun Zhao, but this was clearly not the place to fight. But there was still time. As long as he went to Mexico, he had 10,000 ways to prevent Chun Zhao from coming back. Chun Zhao drove away, but he could feel Ham's gaze. It seemed that the tiger would hurt the man if he meant no harm. To Chun Zhao, nothing had changed in the past 2 days. Apart from packing a box of clothes and daily necessities, he didn't prepare anything else. With Zephyr and Portia at home, there was nothing for Chun Zhao to worry about. On Monday morning, Chun Zhao arrived at the airport. Ham and his team were already waiting in the departure lounge. But they weren't waiting for Chun Zhao. They weren't planning on waiting for Chun Zhao at all. When Chun Zhao went to get his ticket, he realized that his ticket had already been taken. Usually, he needed a personal ID to get a ticket, but Chun Zhao had it with him. His ticket was still taken. Chun Zhao had to use a special method to get into the departure lounge. Chun Zhao found Ham. "Where's my ticket?" Chun Zhao stood before Ham. He didn't like being harassed and troubled the entire trip. Ham and his teammates all looked at Chun Zhao with mocking eyes. "Ticket? Maybe you should ask Miss Demi. I don't know where your ticket is." "Okay, looks like you don't want a peaceful trip. Let's start from boarding." Chun Zhao looked at Ham. Chun Zhao sat across from Ham. Ham kept looking at Chun Zhao with a smile. Chun Zhao crossed his feet and also sat there calmly. It was finally boarding time. Suddenly, one of the team members realized that his passport was gone. "Look again. Did you put in a corner?" "Captain, my passport is gone too." "Damn it, mine is gone too." At this time, Ham touched his pocket. He realized that his passport was gone too. Just then, Chun Zhao stood up. "Yo, it's time to board." "I should board now." Chen Zhao took out a ticket and a few passports from his pocket. How'd our passports end up in his hands? Chapter 1983. Give us back our passports. Ham roared. Chen Zhao put his hand on Ham's shoulder. Calm down. Chen Zhao stuffed the passport back into Ham's shirt pocket. Of course I'll give it back to you. It was just a small joke. Chen Zhao patted Ham's chest again. But I hope that in the next few days, there will be fewer jokes like this. Do you understand? This was originally a small trick to humiliate and tease Chen Zhao. But now, they were being humiliated by Chen Zhao. This was clearly not the place to do it, unless they wanted to be stopped or blacklisted by civil aviation. After boarding the plane, Chen Zhao glanced at his ticket. Hello, Mississippi. How can I help you? The flight attendant approached Chen Zhao with a smile. I'm not feeling well. I need to upgrade. Chen Zhao took out a black card, but he definitely couldn't swipe it on the plane, so he added $2,000 in cash. It was normal to operate in the plane's upgrade cabin, even without a black card. As long as there were empty seats and cash, and the purser handled it, one could upgrade. Of course, there was another possibility. It was because his body needed a better environment. At this time, the flight attendants would upgrade the passenger's cabin for free for the sake of the passenger's health and safety. Chen Zhao took out the black card mainly to increase the weight. Sometimes, there weren't enough empty seats, and several people requested at the same time. That was when the black card would be effective. In fact, there would usually be passengers requesting upgrade on long-distance flights. This was because the cost of requesting to upgrade after takeoff was different from purchasing a first-class ticket. Some people would only ask for an upgrade after taking off for the sake of convenience. There were also premium members of the airline. If there were empty seats in the premium cabin, they had the right to request upgrade for free. When the flight attendant saw Chen Zhao's black card, her smile became even sweeter. In a short time, Chen Zhao successfully switched to first class. Ham and the soldiers all looked at Chen Zhao in annoyance. Even though it was only an hour and a half, Chen Zhao didn't want to stay with them. Los Angeles was less than 600 kilometers from Mecca. Not counting takeoff and landing time, the flight time was less than an hour. The climate in Cali is similar to that of Los Angeles, where the temperature is a little higher by 2 or 3 degrees. They belong to the same climate region and were the largest cities in Upper and Lower California. Of course, in terms of prosperity and economic size, the two were definitely not on the same level. However, as a tourist city, in order to attract a large number of American tourists, they did a good job in all aspects. When Chen Zhao left the airport, he could smell the dryness in the air. Baja California had a larger desert area, and the temperature here was above 25 degrees all year round. Ham and the others also walked out of the airport. They couldn't compare to Chen Zhao at all. It took them half an hour to get through customs. The black card in Chen Zhao's hand was like a pass. So slow. Chen Zhao pursed his lips. Are all American soldiers so inefficient? Everyone, including Ham, was enraged, and their eyes were almost spitting fire. Monkey, you'd better watch your mouth. Ham no longer hid his disdain and hostility towards Chen Zhao. Anyway, this is Takali. You should also watch your words, big black bear. Do you dare say that again? Ham was already standing before Chen Zhao. Standing before Chen Zhao, he was 1 meter tall. He was like a mountain that loomed over Chen Zhao's head. Mr. Black Bear. Without hesitation, Ham punched Chen Zhao's face. But his fist didn't even cause a ripple on Chen Zhao's face. Let me teach you how to punch. Bang! Chen Zhao punched Ham to the ground. Ham yelped as one of his teeth fell out. Chen Zhao stood before Ham and loosened the collar of his shirt. Chen Zhao looked at Ham coldly. Before you attack, you better know who your opponent is, idiot. The other soldiers all stared at Chen Zhao with hatred. As long as Ham gave the order, they would attack Chen Zhao without hesitation. Ham stood up again and spat out the blood in his mouth. He stared at Chen Zhao with hatred. Kid, you'll die here. Chen Zhao chuckled. You should focus your energy on this mission, otherwise you'll definitely die earlier than me. It was an unpleasant encounter from the start. Obviously, This operation wouldn't have any good prospects to look forward to. But after punching Ham, Chun Zhao believed that Ham wouldn't ask for trouble again, especially after Chun Zhao stayed in the most expensive suite in the hotel. After they stayed in affordable rooms, the dissatisfaction was about to explode. Chun Zhao clearly didn't plan on changing the soldier's impression of him. He still did what he wanted. He had the best food and accommodation, and even showed off in front of the soldiers. In the evening, Chun Zhao went out again. At the entrance of the hotel, a woman walked over. She had bronze skin, wavy long hair, and a perky cleavage. She wore stilettos and looked to be in her early 30s. "Hello, you must be Mr. Chun. I'm Ella Gonzalez, the local guide you contacted in the afternoon." "Hello." Chun Zhao shook hands with Ella Gonzalez. "Mr. Chun, I grew up in Immerse. I know this place very well. I can even bring you to experience some special services." Ella's words were a bit vague, but I hope that my pay can be higher. Chun Zhao understood what Ella Gonzalez meant, but Chun Zhao still shook his head. "Sorry, I don't need those services. I think that 100 a day isn't low. You can't ask me to pay more. Of course, if you think that my pay is too low, I can change to another guide." Okay, 100 a day, but I'll only start after 10 and finish before 7. "Sure." Chun Zhao nodded. "Do you want to start working now? Then do you want to start paying now? Let's go. Bring me to eat the most special local food." 20 minutes later, Ella Gonzalez brought Chun Zhao to a restaurant. Chun Zhao stood before the sign and spaced out for at least 3 minutes. "Ms. Ella, are you sure you didn't bring me to the wrong place?" Chapter 1984. Chun Zhao and Ella Gonzalez stood in front of a Chinese restaurant. Chun Zhao really wanted to tell her, "Are you fucking kidding me?" But Chun Zhao maintained his rationality. "Ella, do you know where I'm from?" "I know. I'm from China. I want to eat the local delicacies of Macaulay, not Chinese food. If I want to eat, I can make it myself." But Ascali's most famous restaurant is Chinese. Ella Gonzalez shrugged at Chun Zhao. In fact, the most famous food in Cali is Chinese food. Not eating Chinese food in Immerse was like going to China's capital and not going to the Great Wall. "This Chinese restaurant is really good," Ella Gonzalez emphasized. "Okay, I know it's good." Chun Zhao scratched his head. "Okay, let's go in and try." The waiters in the restaurant were both Chinese and natives. Seeing Chun Zhao and Ella Gonzalez walk in, a Chinese waitress immediately came over. "Sir, miss, hello. What would you like?" "Give me one of your signature dishes," Chun Zhao said in Chinese. The Chinese waitress looked at Chun Zhao and also asked in Chinese, "Are you from China for vacation?" "Sort of," Chun Zhao replied. Chun Zhao could also tell that the waitress wasn't Chinese. She was Chinese herself. There were some differences between Chinese and Chinese. Foreigners might not be able to tell, but Chinese could definitely. The waitress could also tell that Chun Zhao was speaking Chinese, so she spoke to him in Chinese. "Hello, I'm Zhang." "Hello, Chun Zhao. I won't disturb you anymore. I'll go help you with the order." Zhang, he stopped there. A while later, Zhang, he brought a plate of white chicken to the table. "Are you free? Let's sit down and talk." Chun Zhao hadn't talked to people in a long time. Zhang Tianyi didn't count. Chun Zhao had never talked to that old bastard seriously. He only felt like talking to a normal person like Zhang Yi. "Sorry, I still have work. Also, I won't disturb you and this beautiful lady." "Okay." Chun Zhao didn't want to force her. For a moment, Chun Zhao really wanted to slam a few $1,000s on the table and tell Zhang, "I'll buy you for 30 minutes. "Mr. Chun, what do you think of the smell here?" Ella looked at him expectantly. The taste here couldn't be said to be bad, but it was still different from the taste in China. After all, after Chinese cuisine was exported to other parts of the world, it would be localized to a certain extent. Even in Cali, there was no exception. "Not bad," Chun Zhao replied. "You should eat some too." To be honest, the taste here was much worse than Chun Zhao's own. If he wanted to eat Chinese food, he would rather eat at home. After leaving the restaurant, Zhang Yi chased after him to the entrance. "Mr. Chun, this is the China knot from our restaurant." "Oh, thanks." Chun Zhao took the China knot. "Are you studying here?" Yes. Zhang Yi nodded. "I'm leaving." "Bye," Chun Zhao said. "Goodbye." Chun Zhao and Ella Gonzalez left. Ella Gonzalez was also planning to get off work. Mr. Chun, I'll come to your hotel at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Okay, be careful. When Chun Zhao returned to the hotel, he realized that the door to his suite had been opened. The lock was a fingerprint lock. Judging from the lock, it wasn't opened by force. Hotels nowadays all had alarm systems. If a room was forcefully opened, the alarm would be triggered. Chun Zhao entered the room and checked his luggage. His suitcase was also opened. His clothes and daily necessities were scattered everywhere. Almost everything was destroyed. His tablet was lost. Chun Zhao picked up the internal phone and called the hotel customer service. A while later, the customer service manager came. Seeing Chun Zhao's messy suitcase, his heart skipped a beat. Chun Zhao was a black card customer. When he checked into the hotel, he'd already been marked. Now that Chun Zhao's luggage had been robbed, it was a disaster for the hotel. I need to check the surveillance footage, Chun Zhao said calmly. From 5 in the afternoon until I returned to the hotel. Of course, no problem. Mr. Chun, do you need to call the police? The manager asked carefully. Not now. The manager brought Chun Zhao to the surveillance room. He said to the guard on duty, get the surveillance footage from the 20th floor immediately, starting from 5 in the afternoon. Seeing the manager's tone and expression, the guard on duty vaguely realized that something had happened. He hurriedly pulled up the footage, but after a while he suddenly turned his head with a pale face and looked at Chun Zhao and the manager. Manager, the footage isn't recorded. What? It's not recorded? How do you work? Normally, banks or financial institutions kept their surveillance footage for at least 3 months. Hotels kept it for at least a week, but Chun Zhao couldn't find the footage from a few hours ago. Chun Zhao clearly couldn't accept this explanation. Why isn't it recorded? I don't know. I didn't do it before, the guard said frantically. The security guard on duty said in a panic, it should be working normally all the time. Why isn't there any recording? Strange. It clearly shows that it is continuously recording. Chun Zhao looked at the footage. After a few minutes, he said, these cameras are connected to an external line, so it's a continuous image. The guard on duty didn't have any skills. Apart from pressing a few buttons, he didn't know anything else, so it could be ruled out that he was the culprit. However, the guard was still panicking. How can this be? How can this be? Chun Zhao turned and walked out of the surveillance room. Such professional skills weren't something a thief could do. Chun Zhao had a rough idea of who did it. He'd found the stolen goods. These people probably thought that Chun Zhao couldn't find any evidence, which was why they were so unrestrained. Chun Zhao knocked on Ham's door. When Ham saw Chun Zhao, his lips curled into a smile. Mr. Chun, did you just come back? Is Cali fun? Give me back my stuff, and I'll pretend this never happened. A playful expression appeared on Ham's face. Mr. Chun, what are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. Just answer me. Are you going to give it back or not? Chun Zhao still looked at Ham calmly. I don't know what you mean. If there's nothing else, please leave. I'm tired. Goodbye. Chapter 1985. You better sleep with your gun. After all, I don't have a good temper. Are you threatening me? Ham sneered at Chun Zhao. Yes, I'm threatening you. Chun Zhao smiled and turned to leave. Ham's expression gradually turned cold. After Chun Zhao left, he immediately knocked on his teammate's door. Ham had never been threatened like this before. Usually, he would point his gun at the person's head. However, he had to take Chun Zhao's threats seriously. Be careful tonight. That monkey might really take revenge on you tonight. Captain, don't worry. If he really dares to come, I'll kill him right away. Ham nodded and left the room. The moment he closed the door, he suddenly heard a noise in the room. Ham hurriedly opened the door, but there was no one in the room. Denzel, where did you go? There was only a bedroom and a bathroom in the room. There was no other place to hide. Ham searched inside and out, but was unable to find Denzel's figure. Just then, the curtains moved. Ham ran to the window and realized that it was open. However, this place was more than 10 floors above ground. The wall outside was completely smooth glass. Ham's expression changed, and he hurriedly ran to inform the others. However, the room next door didn't open after knocking for a long time. Ham immediately picked up his phone and dialed his teammate's number. but no one picked up. Ham felt that something had happened to them, too, so he smashed open the door. There was no one inside either. Like Denzel's room, the window was open. Ham smashed open another room and got the same result. Missing. His subordinates were all missing. Ham panicked, too. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do at all. Call the police? Would the police be able to handle this? Suddenly, the lights in the corridor dimmed and went out without any warning. Ham felt a hand pinching his neck. Then, the hand suddenly increased its strength. Ham felt suffocated. In the blink of an eye, he fell into a coma. Vaguely, he felt like he was thrown onto a hard floor. Then, there was a tremor. Even in a coma, Ham's subconscious was still working. He was in the back of the car. When Ham woke up again, the sky was already brightening. Ham found that he and his companions were buried in the ground, with only their heads sticking out. His other companions were still unconscious. Denzel, Max, hurry up and wake up, damn it. Not long after, Denzel woke up. What happened? I can't move. Damn it, whose prank is this? Where's this place? The third person also woke up. After the sun rose completely, everyone woke up. At this time, they also knew where they were. This was a desert, and they were buried in the soil. It's that monkey's doing. I want to kill him. Damn bastard. Everyone was cursing loudly, but Chun Zhao wasn't here at all. When the sun began to rise, the temperature also began to rise. Everyone was exposed to the sun, and they began to feel thirsty. Morning, Mr. Chun. Ella Gonzalez entered Chun Zhao's room and saw that he was training. Morning. Chun Zhao wiped his sweat. What's our schedule today? Let's go to the Mercicali Zoo first, then the Mexican-American War Museum. In the afternoon, we can go to the Sicker Casino. I'm not going to the casino. I'm not interested in gambling. You can have some fun and relax, Ella Gonzalez said. No need. Cancel the trip to the casino. Ella felt that it was a pity. After all, she would get a cut of whatever Chun Zhao spent in the casino. Every tour guide in Mercicali had some connection to the casino. Unfortunately, Chun Zhao wasn't interested, so there was nothing she could do. Then let's go to the city park instead. Sure. Chun Zhao and Ella's first stop was the zoo. Mercicali Zoo wasn't a famous zoo, but there were many species. That's the crocodile pond. A tourist fell in before. And then the rescuers found an arm. Chun Zhao leaned against the railing and looked at the crocodile pond. I think we should have chosen this place last night. Maybe it'll be more interesting. What are you talking about? No, nothing. Chun Zhao shook his head. Just then, a worker was holding a pole with a rope tied to it. There was also a piece of meat hanging from the rope. It was attracting the crocodiles to jump out of the water, causing the surrounding tourists to exclaim, Mr. Chun, do you want to enter the airtight cabin and have close contact with the crocodiles? Sure. Chun Zhao nodded. Seeing Ella Gonzalez's proud expression, Chun Zhao asked, do you get a cut from this project too? I just earned some hard-earned money. Chun Zhao and Ella Gonzalez both entered the sealed cabin. The airtight cabin slowly sank into the water. By then, the surrounding crocodiles had already surrounded them. They even used their huge bodies to hit the cabin. Some even used their bloody mouths to bite into the cabin. Ella Gonzalez wanted to see Chun Zhao's dazed expression, but when she turned to look at him, she realized that his hands were still in his pockets. Aren't you scared? This airtight cabin is made of super fiberglass. 1 square meter can withstand 500 MPa of water pressure. Most of the floor-to-ceiling windows in my house are made of this glass. I know how tough it is. The crocodiles can't destroy it. Chun Zhao wasn't a material expert, but Felwood Cisco often mentioned this glass material to him, so he had a deep impression. Of course, this glass was also very expensive. 1 square meter of super fiberglass cost tens of thousands of dollars. Ella Gonzalez rolled her eyes. This project is meaningless with your reaction. Then how should I behave? Fear? You could be excited, Ella said. Ella Gonzalez said, I've accompanied customers to experience this project no less than 100 times. Their reactions have varied, but they've never been as calm as yours. The project only lasted 10 minutes. The airtight cabin was quickly pulled back to the water. Here, Chun Zhao saw all kinds of animals and entertainment. but he wasn't interested at all. He'd rather go home than interact with these animals. He had many animals at home, too. They were much more interesting than the animals here. Chapter 1986. Oh, what's the police number in Mexico? Is it also 911? No, it's 066. Mr. Chun, do you want to call the police? What kind of trouble are you in? I can help you contact some local gangs. Maybe they can help. Of course, it's for a fee. No, I just want to know, just in case, Chun Zhao said calmly. At the same time, he stuffed $100 into Ella Gonzalez's hand. Can you buy an ice cream for me? Okay. No change? No. You can keep the rest as your errand fee. It was already noon. This was the hottest time of the day. In the desert, the temperature was above 30 degrees. Ham and the others had been buried for half a day. Everyone was dehydrated. Some were even showing signs of heat stroke. They didn't have the energy to talk anymore. They were all on the verge of death. This wasn't a pleasant experience for anyone. Even the harshest test they'd gone through hadn't been this extreme. Just when they thought that they were going to die here, police sirens came from the distance. Soon, the police arrived. A total of 15 people were all rescued. Sir, I want to know how you know I'm here. We received an anonymous call saying that you were buried here, the police said. Do you know who did it? Or do you have any suspects? Everyone fell into silence. Everyone knew who did it. After giving their statements, everyone dragged their tired bodies back to the hotel. When Hem opened the door to his room, he heard a sound in the room. He immediately reached for his gun, but he didn't touch anything. Only then did he remember that his gun wasn't on him. Hem carefully walked in while sticking to the wall. He saw Chun Zhao sitting on the sofa in the room, a book in his hand. When he saw Ham enter, Chun Zhao put down the book with a smile. Hi, Ham. What are you doing in my room? How did you get in? How was your experience today? Chun Zhao smiled at Ham. So was you asterisk shoal. Chun Zhao stood up. Where's my stuff? Are you willing to return it to me now? Don't even think about it. Is that so? I want to check out Macaulay today. I found out that there's a crocodile pool in Macaulay Zoo. There are hundreds of crocodiles in it. Put my things back before I have dinner. Chun Zhao walked to Ham's side. After all, crocodile might not give you time to consider. At this moment, Ham felt unprecedentedly humiliated. When Chun Zhao was having dinner, Ham came to the hotel restaurant. Mr. Chun, I think we should talk. Chun Zhao put down his cutlery and looked at Ham and his two subordinates. All right, go ahead. I'm listening. We shouldn't have been enemies, said Ham. You started it from the beginning. Chun Zhao leaned against the chair and crossed his arms. His attitude was very cold. I understand. I made the wrong choice. But at least things haven't reached the worst, right? Chun Zhao maintained the same posture and didn't say anything. Ham tilted his head slightly. His subordinates brought over the lost item. In addition to the tablet, he also took a few more valuable items. For example, the perfume that Chun Zhao usually used for men. Mr. Chun, I came with sincerity to talk to you. Chun Zhao rubbed his brow. I think I know what you mean. Let's stop here. Mr. Chun, I hope that we can cooperate sincerely in this operation. Ham, you know that it's impossible. We don't trust each other at all. Remember to inform me when you act. Chun Zhao said calmly. Are you still going to sit here? You can't afford the restaurant's expenses. Taking a deep breath, Ham turned around and left with his men. Captain, are we just going to give in like this? Daniel asked in a low voice. His tone was filled with resentment. Anyone else wouldn't feel happy after being buried in the desert for half a day. There's still a chance, Ham growled. When we act, we'll all be equipped with our own weapons. Then we'll give him a small surprise. They didn't have enough weapons right now. They needed to contact an arms dealer. All the conversations that they thought were private fell into Chun Zhao's ears. Chun Zhao realized that people who liked to fight for power always liked to test the boundaries of danger. Compared to them, Chun Zhao liked the supernatural organization and Westmore. He would never do anything to test the waters. West was smarter than all of them, because West knew that he only needed to test them once. And that was when Chun Zhao left. Of course, Chun Zhao wouldn't do anything, even if Ham and the others were crazy for death. After returning to his room, Chun Zhao called his family. Then it was Xian Li. Then it was West in the African plains. West, who are you talking to? Someone patted Wes's shoulder. Wes turned around and glanced at the tall black man beside him. My boss. I thought you're the boss. I'm just in charge of leading the team. I can't subdue these monsters. Introduce me when I have the chance. You won't like seeing him. Wes chuckled. There was something else in his gaze when he looked at the black man. Huh. The black man smiled brightly. Terry Boyd, a member that the manager had sent to their team. He was outstanding and an almost all-round sorcerer. He had almost no weaknesses in long-range magic and melee attacks. He wasn't weaker than any member of the organization. In fact, he wasn't even that strong. In every battle, he hadn't displayed his true abilities. To be honest, Wes was indeed shocked by Terry's abilities in the first few battles. But gradually, Wes realized some problems. Terry was indeed terrifyingly powerful. But his identity wasn't simple either. Terry Boyd. His surname was the same as the Nature Guardians. Therefore, Wes suspected that Terry was the Nature Guardian, the poisonous dragon that had never revealed its true form. Wes didn't know why Terry Boyle would join their team of his own accord. Also, wasn't the Nature Guardian heavily injured? That was why Wes said that Terry wouldn't like seeing Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao was a professional dragon slayer. There was probably no one more professional than him in the world. Chapter 1987. Why wouldn't I like meeting your boss? Because he's hot-tempered. I'm good at making friends, Terry Boyle said. Trust me, he's definitely not on your list of friends. Is it really okay to slander your boss behind his back? Wes stood up with a smile. To be honest, other than Gaia and his little dragon, he's killed all the dragons he's seen. Terry's expression froze. What did you find out? You don't seem to be planning to hide it, Wes said. Or rather, you don't plan to hide it from us. That's why I'm being honest with you. To be honest, if a dragon want to hide his identity, he could do it better. All right, what do you want to talk about? The manager said that you're so heavily injured that you're almost peeing blood, but you don't look like you're in danger at all. Wes looked Terry up and down. Do you know how long I've been a guardian? No. 100 years? 1,000 years? 500 years. If at 1,000 years, I can retire, Terry said. Terry Boyle said, but even if it's only 500 years, I'm already sick of it. I have to face those twisted and unnatural creatures every day. But I can't start a war. I'm a nature guardian. The only thing I can do is maintain the status quo. What a bastard rule. Wes was a good listener. At least when Terry complained, he didn't seem annoyed at all. Then, Blood Mary came to me and provided me with a good plan. Of course, her fee isn't cheap. So, the so-called injury is actually a trap between you and the 23rd Blood Mary? You can't start a war, but those unnatural creatures can. You want them to start a war? Yes, and they even attracted a powerful spiritualist team like you. What about the benefits the manager promised? Is it real or fake? Of course it's real. Malone's promise is my promise. Terry Boyd smiled at West. So, what's your choice now that you know the truth? For us, the truth is not important. The reason why I'm talking to you openly is not only to satisfy my curiosity, but also to ensure that we are not pawns in some conspiracy. To be precise, you're indeed pawns. At least our roles aren't that hard to accept. If you can let your boss who can slay dragons participate in this war, I will pay you handsomely. Our boss is a collector. Fire dragon, black dragon, silver dragon, metal dragon. He seems to be missing a dragon ball from a poison dragon. Can you provide it? All right, forget about him. I think he's not interested in the remuneration I'm offering. A wise choice. Chen Zhao had just learned that Ham had just completed the arms transfer today. American arms suppliers were all over the world. Of course, Ham wouldn't tell him how many weapons he'd received. However, Chen Zhao had estimated that the firearms were enough for a soldier to kill a tank division. Chen Zhao looked into the distance. Ham and his men were testing the weapons. They even put Chen Zhao's photo on the target. It was as if their weapons weren't for missions, but to deal with Chen Zhao. Of course, as long as they were happy. These soldiers were more like spoiled boys. Their weapons gave them great confidence and a sense of security. Just then, Chen Zhao's phone rang. Mr. Chun, don't you have plans to go out today? Ella asked. Sorry, no, but I'll still pay you Chun Zhao said. Okay then. Ella Gonzalez was happy to relax. She could get money and not have to work. I think there are gunshots over there. I'm watching a movie. Okay, have a good day. Bye. Seeing that Ham and the others were almost done with their weapons testing, Chun Zhao turned to leave. They've been wasting time in Cali these days, but they weren't idling. Instead, they were waiting for information. Right now, they could only lock onto the location of Sarah's lab within 500 square kilometers. What did this mean? It was about the size of a medium-sized city that could accommodate 3 million people. Finding a laboratory in such a large area, especially one that was hidden underground, was no different from finding a needle in a haystack. Even Chun Zhao couldn't find it unless he was willing to spend a lot of time. But Chun Zhao definitely wouldn't go looking for trouble. As America's backyard, the American intelligence network in Mexico was even more developed than the Mexican government. They'd find clues sooner or later anyway. Chun Zhao didn't need to be snubbed. Chun Zhao was driving. Cali's scenery, urban planning, and layout were quite nice. When he passed by Mexicali University, he happened to see a familiar figure walking out of the school. Zhang, he had just finished class and was walking out with her textbooks. Chun Zhao parked the car by the roadside. Zhang, he also saw him. You're Mr. Chun, right? Hello, Ms. Zhang. Where are you going? I'll drive you. Thanks, but it's okay. I still need to work. Zhang, he was clearly wary of Chun Zhao. It's not close to the restaurant you work at. I'm not going to the restaurant. I have 3 jobs. I need to rush to a supermarket this afternoon. Come on, Chun Zhao said, smiling. I won't eat you. Zhang, he hesitated for a while, but finally got into Chun Zhao's car. Mr. Chun, aren't you traveling with a group? No, I'm traveling on my own. In Zhang Yi's eyes, those who could travel on their own were all rich. Mexico's consumption level wasn't high, but traveling abroad with a group would cost at least 10 or 20,000 RMB. If he was traveling on his own, however, it would be expensive. Who was that lady that day? I hired a local guide. What do you do, Mr. Chun? When I come back, maybe I can work at your company. I'm running a small business. I probably can't afford a top student like you. I'm studying in Mexico, but I'm not a top student. I'm just trying to get some experience. I'm just opening a small workshop and producing beer with a brand name. If you really come to my place, I probably won't know what to do unless you're willing to work as a technician on the production line. From the way you talk, you don't seem like a nouveau riche who produces fake products. I studied medicine, but I couldn't stay a doctor anymore, so I became a small boss. That you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.